Alrighty.
What's that? Tony Hinchcliffe doesn't like Chinese people.
Disgusting. Quite frankly, I think he should be banned from America.
I think he's...
Not just comedy, America. At that point, you don't deserve to be here.
America. He should be banned from not only America, he should be banned from Earth and the moon.
Honestly, we should probably
send him into a rocket.
We probably should
send it to space.
Yes, that's the only.
We should kidnap him and tie him up and put a bag over his head and
the only way. That's the only way to get rid of him.
Really terrify him and
Imagine putting him in a rocket and just sending him to space, and he's doing those jokes in fucking while he's flying over. I was
doing jokes to Chinese astronauts.
Yeah, he's spinning around. He's like, give it up for the chink down on Earth.
They're just flying over space. And they're just
they might see you guys up here.
Well, I think we should do that.
Isn't it great how our idea is to deal how with Lex Luthor is I'm going to do this to Lois Lane?
we want to fucking... That's a good point. What we want to do to Tony Hinchcliffe is essentially just an evil villain's plan. It's a comic book villain's plan to destroy Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah. I swear by this. I'll die by this cause.
And then, you guys know what happens if we kill Tony Hinchcliffe? It's Om Ferrati Chang.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's going to be kill Zack.
Everyone knows that if you cancel a comedian, you get all the spots they would have had.
Yeah, it's like Highlander.
See, if I get...
They should probably bring back duels for
We should probably introduce the show.
Oh, yeah, this is a podcast Orange. I know. They know who it is.
Yeah, they know where they're at.
They clicked on the link.
You know who we are.
They see the title. Unless they're blind and they're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
If you're the first time listening, this is a podcast Orange. My name is Jack Simmons. I am with Tom Crescenzo.
Yo.
And Zack Zorovich today.
Yes, Zack Zorovich, comedian, local stoner.
Thanks for having me at my house.
Local OnlyFans expert. Yeah, we're mobile. We came to the home
Long
of Zack.
Island
He
roast
hosted us today, in fact.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a nice,
Yoo-hoos.
mildly cold Yoo-hoo. Yeah. Pretty good. Good.
That's what happens when you go to Walmart hot. You get all the best Yoo-hoos and iced teas. I literally went at 9 a.m. and I got just
Dunkaroos.
Everything behind you. Yeah, I literally almost got Dunkaroos. Yeah, I got little bites.
Yeah.
I got little bites. I got cosmic brownies.
Oh,
those are
You can't go wrong with the cosmic brownies. Those are the thing is, sometimes you can have too much of them. It's too intense. The chocolate, it's so thick and battery. I'm it's
you put it in the freezer for a little bit.
I actually have never done that.
Yeah, put it in the freezer is it's a good move with chocolate.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
Putting Snickers in the fridge is good.
Reese's,
putting a Snickers or a Twix in the fridge is really good, and then you take it out and. You just jerk off into the fucking...
definitely
then
Reese's
you eat it
in
after.
the fridge for sure. I mean, I remember isn't there ice cream Twix that you get
an
7-Eleven?
bar.
Yeah, that shit is so good when you're
The new thing they have at 7-Eleven, the ice cream thing, is instead of getting Ben and Jerry's cookie dough, you can just get the cookie dough.
Oh, yes, I've gotten that. Oh, it feels like I'm just getting a tapeworm. But I'm this is so worth it. The chance of dying from this is so worth it.
Oh, yeah. I love
delicious.
I love all cookie dough related snacks. So you ever get those chocolate covered cookie doughs, the movies? Those you gotta throw in the fridge.
See, I don't like cookie dough ice cream, though. I feel too much cookie dough, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't melt properly.
I like
mix
it.
of it.
Yeah, fuck with consistency ice cream.
It doesn't. Some of it's cookie dough ice cream is not great.
I mean, it depends where you're getting it from. It can be good. You know what I mean? It's like penis. It depends where you're getting it from, who you're getting it from. Just
you know what?
Jokes, guys.
The Choco Tacos. Those were the shit back in whenever
yes.
Whenever you had the thing where it had ice cream, little stick.
Yeah, dude, you get so excited for those. You go up to the ice cream.
I never got the Choco Taco. I always thought there was they're
excellent.
So
until I was in 10th grade, I thought there was meat in it. I was
it's dude, it's ice cream.
I thought it was chocolate with lettuce,
lettuce and fire sauce. Yeah, they put fire sauce.
It's a hamburger.
Yeah, I literally just thought it was a chocolate dip taco.
Yeah. Just like the SpongeBob pop was really a frozen sponge.
Yeah. Well, pretty much tasted the same. It was pretty much whatever the thing of that year was in that shape. So SpongeBob was just lucky. SpongeBob was just got super popular, and he was just consistently the same shape all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if it was like the Hulk, the Hulk's not shaped like SpongeBob, but when they make him an ice cream form, he's obviously the same shape, and they put the eyes are the same size. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I remember thinking it's like you would see those pictures of the character ice creams, and like, I mean, I guess.
I love how we're having a real theoretical conversation.
Yeah, it's like
this.
It's like that's an interesting point, and to further convey the theory, I'll add this little anecdote. But no, yeah, it's like you would see the pictures, and it's like you'd see the ice cream, and it would look like it's like, wow, that's like really cool. It actually looks like a frozen ice cream SpongeBob, and then you get it, and it would look like this horrible, sad monster.
And then when it melts, it's just
it's like it's like SpongeBob's addicted to heroin, and he's crying.
Yeah,
you had to eat the gumballs first, which sucked
Yeah,
because
you'd scoop his eyes
you
out.
had to eat the gumballs,
Like
and then
this,
you
like,
couldn't like. Or you had to put them down somewhere, which is almost double as disgusting. Because if you chew them first, you have to fucking spit them out to eat the rest of the ice cream.
Yeah, right? It's like, why would you chew gum while you're trying to... That's kind of what I never liked about, like, blow pops. Is like, I would always try to chew the gum immediately. Like, you know, I would just chew through the lollipop to get to the gum. But that would just... It would just fuck your teeth.
See, I'm more...
And I'm like, I'd rather not have these things mixed, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, food and gum, it doesn't...
There is another good one I like. It's another Ben & Jerry's thing they do at 7-Eleven where it's like a slice of a pint. Like, just like a slice of it.
Yeah.
Just dip it in chocolate. Of like cookie dough or whatever. Like cookie dough or like Cherry Garcia or whatever. Just dipped in chocolate. It's like delicious.
Sounds so good. We're so high talking about food right now.
Oh, this is a real pothead conversation.
Yeah, that's such pothead radio. It's like,
dude, man, talking about...
Up next on 420, I don't know, the Sirius
We're
station.
talking about a car that runs on water.
Yeah. Oh my God! So how have you been, Zach? How's what's going on? Moved into a new place.
Yeah.
Making it happen, grinding. What's going on?
I've a new place. Just been doing consistent. The same bullshit we've all been doing for the past year. And pretty much, I just had a little nest egg, and I had a little opportunity to get out of my house and move out just for a little bit. And I said, why not? Just
for sure, man.
Yeah, let's pretty much do all the same shit. And it pretty much my life hasn't changed that much. I do all the same shit. Go to work out, go to Mike.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you don't even realize how you living in this place just makes me more suicidal knowing I still live with my parents. So
yeah. Tom, that was me 4 weeks ago. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, maybe one day I'll be able to get out. No, but it is because, obviously I'm so happy for you because it's like you get a place.
I'm so happy for you. This is like a girl thing from high school. Like, dude, I'm so happy for you.
I'm so happy
for you. Like,
I know, it's just like...
I'm not in love, I found a room. You're growing.
You found the one.
Who knows?
The one room.
We're proud of you.
Maybe next you'll move to another place. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm happy for you, but then it's like,
I'm
also just like, God damn it, everyone's getting out. I want to get out. Help me.
Trust me, man. It's
grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what
and it's like one of those things too where it was kind of time for me. I think I'm like a year or two older than you too, so I was kind of like...
Well, yeah, So I mean, essentially, if I moved out in a year, it'd be around the same time.
I saved up and I moved out. I really was saying this today. I moved out at the right time where I had enough money to where it's I could throw a few grand at some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's good because
I bought some furniture, I bought a bed, I bought all shit like that.
That's what I need to do essentially.
So even if anything happens here, I move in, I find a new place. I don't have to buy any new furniture or anything like that.
True, yeah. I mean, you may have to. The only annoying thing you might have to do is put your stuff in storage if you can't do that. But that's and
I had enough money too where I set aside for even before I moved where I was I was gonna probably get a new Xbox, so I had money saved aside for move, down payment, Xbox. You know what I mean? So I've always I moved pretty much at a time where I didn't have to worry as much about dropping a lot on maybe some clothes, so I don't have to go to the dry cleaners as much and stuff like that. So little things like that, which is I get to buy a new mic stand maybe for this bad boy over here.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, your mic is like a large black dick compared to this little round white testicle that we have.
I like our little round testicle though.
What
does it remind you of? Doesn't it look like that? Remember in the Phantom Menace?
I was gonna say the thing from WALL-E.
That too.
Oh yeah, it looks kind of like Eve. Yeah,
not really. A little bit.
It looks like if Eve had a titty.
Eve was hot. I would have totally fucked Eve.
Yeah, I would have. I remember thinking I don't know. For a little robot, like...
I get why Wally... Dude, if you're the last thing on
Great
Earth...
stoner cast, guys.
I mean, dude, I know you've I'm not surprised you've never listened to the show, but this is what it is.
Yeah, I imagine.
We just get high and drunk. Usually, I mean, you know, sometimes we get fucked up. We get fucked up.
I'll go grab a beer if we need it. Don't worry, boys. I got some actually cold things in the fridge downstairs, unlike here.
Let's not have a stoner cast.
Worry about it.
Let's have an intellectual conversation.
About fucking
What do you
robots.
want to talk about? You want to talk about Matt Gaetz more? What's his name? Matt Gaetz?
Who? Matt Gaetz?
Who's the guy? The rapist?
The Congress
I don't want to talk about that guy.
He's not a rapist. He is a sex trafficker, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Seems kind of like a rapist.
Cool.
What's that Rick and
man,
Morty?
he's just like the middle. He's just like the middleman for the rapist.
What's that Rick and Morty line? It sounds like a rapist with extra steps.
Yeah, it sounds like slavery with extra steps.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't like Rick and Morty.
I never said I didn't like Rick and Morty.
Tom
I said
hates
I
Rick
didn't
and
like
Morty.
their fans.
Tom hates Rick and Morty.
I said I don't like their fans. I like the show.
It is one of those things too, where it's people just do that about all their own shit. Where people talk about like Korean boy bands, like where people are like Rick and Morty's the most intellectually stimulating.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, it's kind of just a good show, you know.
People say that about a podcast, Orange.
Stuff can't be good.
yeah, absolutely. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
I feel like I'm overpowering the noise.
People used to say that about Charlie Rose. It was like, this guy, this is a really intelligent conversation. Like, this guy is just like a straight-talking interview. And then they found out that guy is like a big perv.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome, right?
Yeah, dude, that's so awesome.
So
but that's why he was such a good talker.
Yeah, because he knew how to lure them in.
Yeah, dude, he had a lot of practice.
He knew how to lure them in.
I mean, you know what it is? Like, even some comedians you think about, like, we put them on a pedestal, be like, this person's a genius, they're a genius writer, you know what I mean? They're this, but then, like, to the average person, they'd probably, like, listen to their stand-up and be like, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's funny. I don't know if I would say it's that smart. You're like, what do you mean it's not smart? It's genius. It's like, you know, it's just kind of the way you...
How are you not looking at this person's balls right now?
Yeah, it's like, how are you not working the shaft with me?
Mm-hmm.
But
usually there are a lot of smart...
Some people you can't argue. Like, you couldn't argue that, like, you couldn't say Carlin's not a genius even if you didn't really like him.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, then there's a lot of people. Like, I could, even as much as I love him,
some people
I could
say
totally
that just
see
to say
someone
that.
hearing Bill Burr and thinking, like, yeah, this is whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I love Bill
yeah.
Burr. Like,
I get that. Like, but that's, you know, different taste. Like, there's certain comedians that I like that I'm like, really? This guy? And there's even
other people that
like, I don't know, like Theo Vaughn. Like, I don't, you know.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn is like...
He's not a guy I get, you know? But it's also like, if I don't get it and there's people that do get it, it doesn't mean that it sucks, you know?
Right.
I don't think...
Yeah,
it's just not your thing.
Sucks, yeah.
I even feel that way about Hannah Gadsby. Like, honestly,
no, that sucks.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Tom handed like a softball. That was like a lob right there.
It's like I was loading up a hook, and I was like, yeah. So I feel that way.
It's pretty much me and Tom were just in the airport playing shirtless volleyball together, and he just gave me a giant lob.
Yeah.
For me, the thing is, the problem with her is it's not. It's almost.
I like her big giant penis though.
Yeah, her cock is pretty large.
She really just looks like her and Rachel Maddow look like before and after pictures. They really do.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's the same haircut. It's
the same haircut. It's the same glasses.
Same lesbian. What is? Why?
The problem with her approach to it is she approaches it as like, I'm trying to make a point rather than I'm trying to entertain everyone.
Yeah, and I mean,
you need to be important she said like you need to have you need to be supporting social justice in order to do stand-up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What stand-up have you watched?
Yeah.
It's like oh my God, what's his fucking name?
That's a good point. It's
remember when Rodney Dangerfield was promoting social justice?
Remember when Mitch Hedberg was talking about feeding ducks? That's really one of those things when someone says to me, it's like, well, you have to have a point and a message. Like, no, Mitch Hedberg didn't.
I mean, honestly, that's not true. Like, there's TV shows that don't have a point. Like, did SpongeBob really have a point? Like, you know what I mean? There's, like, movies that they're just movies and they're fun. It's like, there's no point to Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Point. The point is to figure out who wins.
It's just fun.
Godzilla versus Kong.
But even that's not a point. It's like, I just want to watch these giant monsters that aren't real fight. Like,
and everyone who loved it all for the same reason. No one cared about, like, who was the actors in it.
Well, the pedophiles want to see the girl from Stranger Things in it.
Oh, well, now she's an adult, so it's like, even Drake
I think she's still, like, in high school.
I don't know, but she's like...
Zach's like, dude, she's 14.
Dude, I jerk off to her all the time. What are you talking about? She's definitely an adult.
It's one one of those things now where she's going from child star to like
adults
blossoming girl. I'll say,
sort of, yeah.
Like it was almost the opposite of what happened with Billie Eilish that I make fun of. That it's like she went from like being the girl where it's like, why does everyone want me to show my body so bad? Fuck you. This is what music is about. And then, like, as soon as she turned 18, it's like, I'm a slut. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then it's all about, like, you gotta accept my body for what it is.
I feel like she
you
might
gotta
have
accept
also,
my big titties.
It might have been, like, a publicist move.
Yeah,
like, I bet
and
she's
it's like
her
it's
manager
like one of those
said,
things where it's like the idiots who were just like
sex sells.
Yeah, it's the idiots who were just like, tell them, Billy, you had a message about not showing your body, and now they're like, yeah, queen.
You have a message about showing your body, no matter what. The problem is the same thing. Like it's just yes.
Like I heard Kurt Metzger have a really good point where remember when remember how all these people are like, how did the media treat Britney Spears so bad? It's because Britney Spears openly supported George W. Bush.
Yeah, that didn't help.
And there's so many parts of the documentary where they're like, how could they ask her and treat her like this?
Yeah. It's also like the same people that made it. Like the New York Times
were the people,
made that fucking documentary.
Like literally, like they had. Like,
we were such an assholes back in the day. Here's a documentary about it.
We don't know what, and they're like, we don't know why
we suck, but fucking I don't know.
Like, we don't know why we were assholes.
Either. And then they're gonna win then they're gonna win awards. Making a documentary about themselves being assholes and making all these mistakes. They're just gonna pat themselves on the back for being woke now about recognizing how they were shitty back in the. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
it's like the Blind Side, the movie The Blind Side with.
I always have to. Yeah, it's a good movie.
I always have to. I know this is a sports movie, but I know Sandra Bullock was in it, so I know Tom saw it. I know you saw it. With fucking mom's panties on your head, Jack.
Yeah.
But
you got us pins.
Damn, alright.
The guy
I do like my Sandra Bullock.
The guy Michael Orr, who's like the star of that movie, hated it.
You mean the guy it was based on?
Michael Orr. The guy who's an offensive lineman because he's an offensive lineman in the NFL for a little bit. He got in a little trouble. He got in a little trouble a few years ago, and I think he beat up an Uber driver. He played like 7 years. Oh, wow. He went to a Super Bowl. He wasn't like
he's pretty good.
He wasn't like
I remember.
He had an okay career, I believe. But he's like in his 40s now, I think, or something like that now.
Damn.
But he hated that movie. Because he's like, you guys made me look like a retard.
Yeah, he did. And he's like, yo, I didn't sign up to this shit for the retarded.
It's like people.
It's like, dude, we did.
He did look like a retard in that movie.
But the thing is, too, is like it's a sexier narrative that he's like this big dude who loves protecting people and he plays offensive line. And like that they couldn't get him to play defense. So he's like, dude, I was an all-state defensive lineman in Mississippi. Yeah. Which is like being a god butcher, like you have to be a man of a man to do that. Like you got real genetics.
I mean, that's the thing about the movies is like they'll take the story and they'll just. I mean, it's like a white savior narrative.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Because it's like but I mean, I still like it just because that's like Sandra Bullock and it was in also as Lily Collins too.
Yeah,
that's who the daughter is. Yes, you're right. I never realized that.
Yeah, Phil Collins' daughter.
I remember watching it in high school. We watched it. You remember how?
I had a crush on her when I saw the movie. I'm like, oh my god,
that was when I never thought about because she did that movie and then she do anything?
She's been doing a lot of shit. She was on that show like Emily in Paris.
Well, I mean now, but like between now and then, did she do anything like?
Yeah, she did a few movies. She was in like the City of Bones, which they tried to make into like a Harry Potter. Remember after Harry Potter, how they had like a million different franchise, like, we can make this. What about this?
They had
like Percy Jackson.
Oh,
which they made some money on.
The Lightning Thief sucks. I remember watching that shit.
That one.
We watched it in English because we read the book. So they're like, we're gonna watch the movie too because that's educational.
The best
and I remember watching it and I was like, this is like one of the worst movies.
Isn't it funny too when they get like? I remember this is one of those movies where like the actors were clearly like in their mid-20s and like they're playing like I'm 17.
They're like, I'm so scared of this as a 14-year-old.
Like the guy from Tropic Thunder was like a high schooler and I was like, dude, I just saw you. Al Pacino. The guy who played Al Pacino.
Oh my god, that guy was like 30!
Yeah, I was like, dude, you were Al Pacino 2 years ago. You're not in fucking gym class.
You were on Wild and Out for 5 years, dude.
You can't just be like a high schooler like after you're already.
How old were like Drake and Josh for Drake and Josh?
No, they were in their 20s, but they were also like.
They were like high school.
They were like 20 when they were supposed to be 17 or something. Yeah, they weren't like ridiculously.
All right, that's not
movies. It's more of that.
Yeah, that's not as bad. I mean,
for Percy Jackson, it was literally Percy Jackson, and then like 3-4 years later, you could see the girl from Percy Jackson titties in True
Alexandra
Detective.
Daddario.
Yeah, Alexandra Daddario.
She's
fantastic.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
and True Detective when she
blew. I just remember the
Well, he's even directed by the same guy who made the first 2 Harry Potter movies. That's how much they tried to make it like a Harry Potter thing.
Yeah,
wasn't it funny when they tried to make movies that like could only exist as books? Like there was some movie with Shailene Woodley.
This Allegiant. Divergent.
Yeah.
All
those movies are horrible.
Yeah.
They also no sense. Well, that one actually competed with
too. Aragon. There was like a book about it.
I read the book. The book sucked. I was like, this book is
never
boring.
read the book. Never read the book.
And so the movie.
The movie was okay.
Dragon. You thought it was okay?
I didn't. I thought
dude,
it was...
like put me to sleep in the theater. I was like,
it's you gotta know what you're getting into, you know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, if I had read the book,
it's like if I had an 8-year-old and that was on, I'd like,
it's passable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there was that whole era when, like...
I fall asleep to it, though.
Honestly, there was...
I'm not saying I'd make it through. I'd probably fall asleep. I have to, check myself on that, Tom.
Right.
I'm not, chomping at the bit to see Aragon right now.
Yeah.
Well, that was Divergent movie that came out because that was, like, competing with the Hunger Games. Yeah. And the Hunger Games really, like, kicked the shit out of them in terms of, like,
I don't know how they... I was like, how would they make a second movie?
They made 3 of them.
Movies! Jesus Christ!
I think Shailene Woodley, like, she was like, I hate this movie.
By the time I heard about
you know what she's doing now? She's marrying Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. She's
like
a big liberal like person.
Well, you guys know it. Well, I'll explain to you two. You know what's happening with Aaron Rodgers right now, right?
What?
He's on Celebrity Jeopardy.
No, he was the host of Jeopardy for a little bit, and
for a while, yeah.
He just said at some point he's like, I'm not coming back to training camp this year. And he's like,
oh, that's right.
You're owed $12 million
to
go to training camp. He's like, no, I'm just not going to do it.
He's like, I'm retiring. Yeah,
I'm going to retire. He's just like out of nowhere. It was very crazy. But
I saw that he was going to retire, that he's now returning to Green Bay.
Yeah, but that's what he said. He says he wants to go somewhere else, or he wants to retire, is what, in his words, what he's saying. But I don't know. But it's weird that he, it's right when they started getting married, and it's now he's getting married to that girl.
Shailene
Woodley. And I remember she was out in, like, what was the Native American oil pipeline?
The Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah, she was
out
there
protesting Minnesota, in like Minnesota or the Dakotas. Like,
Dakota. She's like one of those people that was there.
Right, she's a big liberal activist.
But I also heard she's like she has like one of these weird girls who's like I only shower once a week or something like that.
She's like, I support the pipeline, but I also only shower.
Earthy crunchy.
Yeah, she's like I let the earth taste my minerals.
I used to know some like earthy crunchy hippie girls in college like that, and they wouldn't. And their hair would get all fucking ratty because they rarely use shampoo. Like and the shampoo they use is like fucking organic shampoo.
That he's showing to us.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like that. Yeah, it's
darker
rough.
than your rug.
Oh yeah, it's bad, man.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm pretty hairy too. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, my back's way worse. Like my hair literally connects. If I don't shave the back of my neck, it'll go from the back of my hair to the back of my neck, all the way just connects.
Oh, you have like the opposite. Yeah. See, you ever heard the term like happy trail where your chest hair connects to your feet?
Yeah.
You have like a sad trail.
I have an everywhere trail.
You have the trail of tears.
I have a dysentery trail. I'm going to skip the Oregon Trail joke and just go straight to dysentery joke. Yeah.
That's how we do it here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I sometimes look at my shoulder hair and I think like in the 10 years my back is going to be
Zach,
nice.
you make these comments like you wouldn't have it any other way with this podcast. Come on, this is the height of your week right now.
This is you in your natural habitat.
This is like the best thing that's happened to you all week.
I sleep in this room. It was nice just to be able to like, oh, you want to do a podcast? He's like, yeah, you want us to come over and do it? I was like, yeah, I don't feel like going anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured you would like that. And then I remember you said you had a mic set up, but honestly, like I thought you meant when you said that, I thought you meant you had like a couple mics. So I was like, Zach has like a couple mics.
I have
like we can all hold our own mic.
Like I literally have a mic. So if
a mic. I thought you meant that you have a mic set up. Not a mic set up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I meant if you wanted me to do it from like my house.
Still though, your mic is mad nice. Like,
oh yeah, the stand's not expensive. You can get these on Amazon for like $30, something like that.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, my aunt got me a fucking. I did like a mic for a Secret Santa for Christmas. Like I wanted to get a microphone. My aunt got me one that was like $50, and it looks way shittier than that. I should have just.
That's a nice one. I think I broke it a few times.
This conversation is boring the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, that's
what did your aunt get you for Christmas, Jack?
Ha 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 ha! I celebrate
Christmas. You're only bored because we're not talking about raping people.
Yeah,
what do you want from us? Should we go into something sick and depraved just for you?
No, I don't just enjoy that. My aunt, I don't know.
I don't enjoy that, although I do.
My aunts don't get me any shit for Christmas. They're cheap.
Joking.
I mean, if you're so bored, why don't you contribute something interesting?
Yeah.
I am
instead of just sitting there.
Wake me up before you go there,
in the room, sucking in emptiness.
I am saying interesting stuff.
All right, name the last interesting thing you said in the past 30 seconds.
I think the last interesting thing they said was that a single death is a tragedy, but 1 million deaths is a statistic. Joseph Stalin.
And you're calling me boring. I mean,
yeah. Did we just die in Call of Duty? What just happened?
Yeah, I feel like that was like a sample to a video game death. Yeah.
Why do you have Stalin quotes just queued up?
Why don't you not have Stalin quotes?
I mean, he's a Marxist.
I'm not
Zach is pretty much ready to throw a brick through a CBS window.
Yeah.
Given the chance that it's for Bernie Sanders and not black people.
Yeah. No.
Bernie's life
just any
matters.
chance to throw a brick.
Bernie's life matters.
Black lives.
Black Bernie lives matters.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah, we're all just joshing.
Who is
that's
that?
Racist.
What?
Yeah.
Tom, what you just said.
Yeah, I was saying you're racist.
You shouldn't say that. That's racist.
No, I was saying you're racist.
I know.
I'm not racist.
I know that's racist by saying I'm racist.
How?
Because you're saying I'm prejudiced as a stereotype against Jews. You're a horrible human being.
You are a really opinionated people.
I'm gonna close my door so my roommate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know why you opened your door. I'm like, I guess he wants his roommates to hear this shit.
No, yeah, I was trying to drown out the sound of the birds, but all this talk of racism and penis. Why not?
Again, Zach, I know you haven't listened to the show, but I don't know what you expected.
Yeah, people like shitting on this show, but it's,
No, I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying, like, this is what we do. We just chill and talk.
Jack actually has penises tattooed on the insides of his forearms.
Yeah, they're nice.
Like a fucking pervert Popeye.
It's like he's like a dick sailor.
Instead of eating spinach, you just jerk off and get really horny and then
Do you think wasn't it funny that like spinach when he was like he's definitely doing anabolic steroids?
Yeah.
Fisherman.
I mean, Popeye was like, wasn't there like? Oh, I'm not gonna do this. I was gonna say, wasn't there a Family Guy joke? But we can't keep just referencing the show. Yeah.
Well, isn't that what Family Guy does?
Yeah, they basically reference everything else. We can reference a show that references everything. Yeah, I was about to reference a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Family Guy sucks.
You suck.
No. There's certain episodes.
There's
certain ones that you have to like.
It sucks.
You suck.
All right.
And your comedy sucks.
Oh, jeez.
Look at this
guy. A little hostile, Jack.
Tom sucks at hosting.
Oh.
That happened last week.
Oh, by the way, come watch me host May 23rd, Comedy Against Humanity, produced by Don LaMarca.
If you want to see an Italian guy sweat uncomfortably on stage, come to this show.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be
smell like
I sweat olive oil. It's great for your salad.
If you want to hear a bunch of this is like that jokes, one after another.
I mean,
if you want to hear all of Jack's jokes from this podcast onto a microphone on a stage, go see Tom host.
I was going to say, if you want to hear some of Jack's material, he'll do it right now. All right, he's done. That's all the material he has.
You don't like that's good material. What, making fun of you?
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good material.
Honestly, some of your best shining moments have just been shitting on me.
Well, that's what you say.
Just like you, Zach. Some of your most shining moments have just been shitting on everybody.
I love shitting on people. That was great. Wasn't it great? Were you there the other week where the guy wouldn't stop talking for everyone, and then he said something during my set, and I'm like, sir, you stopped being interesting 3 comics ago.
I don't know if I want. When was that?
This one? No, was it like a week or 2 ago?
I can't remember.
Some regular townie was there, and
I might probably not, as I don't remember.
I had to be like the 8th comic or something up there, and he was like one of these guys who has to get like the guys who are the worst are the guys who think they have to get a tag at the end, where they're like, oh yeah, or they're like trying to get in on the joke, where you're just like, shut up, man, let me talk, laugh, talk to me after. If you have something you'll say after, that's when you want to be funny to a comedian. You don't want to this guy was just being annoying. He was just heckling everyone. And then at some point he just...
And his name was Zack Zorovich.
Yeah, that's usually... And I was like, that's my job, cocksuckers.
Yeah, it's like, you're steal my thunder, bro.
I have one job
There's only one asshole in town.
Yeah. I have one job here. It's to ruin Steve Perillo's hosting set.
But go on. So he was talking.
And he was talking, and I just look over him, and I just go, you stopped being interesting 3 comics ago. And that's what really got him, because everyone else was just like, shut up, you suck. And I was like, you're just not interesting. I'm not going to talk to you. You know?
Did he get mad?
Yeah. It almost annoys people when you're telling them, listen, you're not even interesting enough for me to make fun of.
Yeah.
I'll leave you alone. See you later.
I mean,
And I don't think he thought too much into that, though.
Well, I made a joke about Robert Kraft, who is the owner of the Patriots, who was got in trouble with some massage parlors. And I said the thing, literally, I do a bit where I make fun of comedians because they don't follow sports headlines. So I said pretty much I could say anything about, sports headlines. Like Robert Kraft owned an Asian woman, and the guy was like, he got so offended by this, and he just got up and left. He's like, owning an Asian person. Oh.
It's like, what, you don't already own an Asian person? Like,
Yeah,
if you own an iPhone, you essentially own an Asian person because one is making all your iPhones in China.
Right.
This guy had a Vietnam veteran hat on.
Okay, dude, we own Asian people, but they also own America.
I know, but it's like, I'm obviously fucking around. No one really... Robert Kraft doesn't really own people.
I know, you're not.
Oh, are you serious? I thought for sure he did own people.
But that guy just he was mad that I insulted him, and I told him he wasn't interesting enough. And then when he found something to jump on me, he did. And then when he did, he made a dramatic exit, and then I continued to make fun of him when he left, because that's what we all really wanted.
He wanted to save
face. His dramatic thing? Like, how did he get?
He was like, well, I said the joke about Robert Kraft owned an Asian woman, whatever. He obviously fucked around.
And then he just he was basically just like, oh, owning an Asian.
He's like, how what a douche. And this guy was a Vietnam veteran.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, it's like I
hate veterans.
Not even that. Not even that. I just don't believe him.
Yeah.
I just don't believe him. It's like,
he's a white guy, and
you're a Vietnam vet. You definitely said the word.
He's not a Vietnam veteran. He just likes wearing camouflage, and
but
it
wasn't that he cares. It's just like he didn't like me because he wanted to make a dramatic exit, and then after he left,
he wanted to save face. I mean, it's not. You don't want to just get insulted then leave the door. Then you look like you're an asshole. That He wanted to leave, and us just sit there and be like, wow. That guy told me.
That guy got it.
You're gonna reevaluate it.
Like people think when they confront a comedian, like the comedian's like, oh, like is it like, oh, here we go again?
I mean, I don't know. It really depends on the type of confronting. Like, if it's like just a guy who's like trying to like chime in, like sometimes I don't murder them right away. Sometimes I'll just be like, oh yeah, I mean, and you're just like being a whatever, like I'll spin what he said. And if it gets a laugh,
like you can't,
usually nothing happens.
You have to be subtle about it because if you just go up there and it's like, hey guys, look at your next comedian, 100%, dick joke. You see this fucking guy right here? You know what I mean? You
can't be so abrupt.
You gotta let him dig his own grave a little bit.
Yeah, like you don't, and also you don't have. I think you can give people a warning a little. Like you can kind of like roast him with just a little bit, like. Just give him like a kind of like a joke warning where it's like, all right, like, dude, don't keep talking out.
What you do is you take the mic and just fucking bash it over the guy's head.
Yeah. What you do is you pull out the gun that you bring on stage for this exact situation, and then you point it at the crowd and you say, the next motherfucker who speaks or gets up from their chair is gonna die. And then you finish your set.
But you also gotta play it like by ear.
In the South.
You gotta play it by ear too, because I love insulting people. I personally think I'm one of the best. Just like. I think if every comedian in the world sat down.
What do you mean? You're one of the best. One of the best of what?
Oh, just quickly insulting people. Just like thinking that to that.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd support that.
And if like
in the world,
in the world. I think if literally.
I was gonna stop in One-Eye Jacks.
I think if literally every comedian in the world had a roulette of just like name, and then it was literally wrote 5 minutes before, I'd win everything. You know what I mean? I think if more people had time. But
I mean, I'll say this, like as far as people I know who try insulting people on the fly, myself included, you are probably one of the best that I know, if not the best. Like you're pretty like. you're pretty good too, Jack. But sometimes you just get a little too mean, and it's like, don't be so mean. No, you're.
But I mean, like, I don't even mean like comedians.
That's the whole point.
I mean like regular people too. Like I almost go out of my way to make fun of regular people, and not like not even an insulty way.
It's like a tease.
Yeah, like I'm more of an insult comic, I feel like.
No, I mean that's fine. I think
I'm busting your chops.
Yeah, I mean
you are exactly like Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
In that you date 15-year-olds.
No, the only difference is you got to change the numbers around on the dates of the ages of the girls, and then it's like 51, and then like, all right, yeah, that's what my girl.
There we go. Yeah.
If anything, they were the pedophile.
Yeah, right. I mean, kind of. Like, if you were,
like, I was molested by Jeff Ross.
I mean, you know what? It's like, yeah, we all have our style. We all try to do our thing.
No, but you got it. It's one of those things too, where it's like if you have to tell yourself that all the time too, because if you go out of there and you can't be like, "Hello, sir, you look like an asshole." You know, you can't be like, cracking.
I mean, you can't also just. So I've tried doing that. I've tried opening sets with just crowd work.
Hey, what about you, pal?
Yeah, literally, like, what's going on? Hey, how's everybody doing? Jesus, you look like you're fucking or something. And then it's like sometimes it'll hit. Yeah, but then sometimes it'll be like that. Yeah, like, oh man, you look like you're gay or something. And then everyone will be like, whoa, what is?
You mean Jackson?
What are we doing here? And then I'm like, never mind, guys. Let's go into my material.
Yeah, like there's certain things you can't do. Like I was talking about this the other week. Like, you can't, if there's a fat woman, you can't be like, you're fat.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too... I mean, if you're going to make a joke about them being fat, it has to be a damn good joke.
But not even...
Because fat jokes are just so easy.
And they have to be, like,
unless you're also fat, in which case they give you more slack, because they're like, alright, at least this guy gets it. But if it's, like, a skinny motherfucker just going up and be like, look at you, you tub of shit, why don't you fucking... eat a carrot for once in your life and fucking take a shotgun to the mouth, asshole.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean by mean.
That's not how that works.
Just say exactly.
If I saw somebody do that on stage, I might walk out.
No, not even that. I saw that a few weeks ago. I was in the city. I was at a mic, and the guy literally was just yelling at people. It was like, he started went off just like, fuck you. And then he's like, I don't know why my set went bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I told everyone to die. I thought like I was somebody.
I told them all they were fucking assholes and pieces of shit. I don't.
What do they want from me?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with me, like where I like. I'll do this thing sometimes where I don't always do like, oh, you're fat, whatever. I do this thing that's kind of a hacky move now, where it's like you look like you do something sort of insult. Yeah. Like, oh, Jesus, look at you with your hat and your shirt. You look like you sell drugs to middle school, or, just like something like that.
It's like a Mad Libs fill in the blanks.
Yeah. Like, and it's like people, sometimes it works because you'll just have a crowd and they'll be like, oh, we got him. And it's like, but really...
But that one only works once at a time.
Right.
Because you could do necessarily, you look like this, but you could just say, ma'am, you look like, shouldn't you be... Don't you?
Yeah, you can make it shorter. Like, shouldn't you be doing this?
Like, what did I say to the guy? What did I say to the guy at Alibi the other day? Like, if you're here, like, who's feeding?
If you're here, who's feeding the pigeons? That was really funny.
Yeah, but if you're here, who's feeding all these pigeons in the park? and we all got it. Everyone said you look like an old dude who feeds pigeons in the park.
Yeah, I mean that's better. You're right. That's making it a joke. See, I'm just not as good as that on the fly. Like, I'm always worried about
I live for that.
Just saying it the wrong way, and then I say
I like trying it out. Sometimes it goes wrong. I remember one time at the fucking crab trees, there was this older man with a younger woman, and he had his arm around her. Yeah. And I didn't realize that was I didn't realize they were like a father-daughter.
This is Crabtrees and Huntington.
I was like, so you guys like you guys father-daughter, you like dating? You like one of those like gold digger couples? And then they just got like really serious, and I was like, "Oh, anyway, what about you? What do you do?"
Oh my god! Imagine if you're like, "Are you one of those like Chinatown couples?"
And then I don't know. I mean, they were fine after that, but it's like, dude, the guy was holding his daughter in a really weird way.
Crabtrees was an open mic that people like. It was fun, but I feel like people never really did that well there. Like,
I did well.
I mean,
yeah, sometimes you can do.
I mean, I would do all right.
I honestly do think that you were only there at Crabtrees for a few months, where it was like a mic that went on for about 2-3 years.
Yeah, true. I wasn't there for the bulk of it. Yeah. I mean, I just remember going.
So like in the beginning, it was like fucking Candyland, because it was literally a full bar. So there'd be nights where it would be like 2 or 3 tables, and you'd be like, why the fuck did I waste my time doing this? Come out to Huntington, this mic's late as fuck, yada yada yada. But it was worth the while a lot of the time.
I mean, I've been there on nights where I've done all right, and I've been like, this was really fun. But sometimes I just go in there and I have a rough set. Like, people are eating dinner. Yeah. People are listening to me. I'm sucking. Like, you know
towards the end, it got to be a point where a lot of people who were, like, regulars there would really just make all the noise at the bar because it used to be their weekly drinking thing. For us, it would be like, we're writing notes. And when we're getting a crowd, we're going to, knowing we're getting a crowd, we're going to spruce it up a little bit. We'll work on jokes we don't do a lot.
We're going to try to get the crowd into it, too, sometimes. Exactly. Like, there's a crowd here,
Yeah.
Well, the problem is there was that barrier with the bar and the restaurant. Everyone would just hang out in the bar area.
Crabtree's a great place to go
but that was towards the end. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, you guys were only there for a little bit when it was just that. There was times before that where it was just, like, the fucking best.
We're not...
I mean, we were also there most of the time I went there was when it was under new ownership.
Yeah.
So,
but there was also there was little things where it was like, it was already
Dana.
People who the people who were like the people eating there wouldn't sit at the bar and they would only sit over there. And then it became the comedians are here, we don't really want to sit over there or whatever like that.
Right. We just want to eat our meal.
Or if it was someone who was like a comedian, they were there with their girlfriend or whatever, you know what I mean? And then would try to put them in the back, Like it was a guy who would show up every week who did that, who did the mic every week, and it was just, there were certain guys who just did Crabtrees because why wouldn't you just do a mic with people?
There are people I've only seen there. It's true. Yeah. I remember one of the guy who used to run it. I did meet him. I only ever saw him at Ziggy's one time.
Norm McDonald. He reminded me of Norm McDonald.
Did he?
The guy who used to run that fucking Crabtrees mic.
Maybe a little.
Before the
Lee?
Yeah, Lee.
Tim Thompson reminds me more of Norm McDonald.
Yeah, no.
I thought Lee. He gave me a Norm vibe.
He's the king of meats. Lovely Seelig.
The king of meats.
But he was honestly.
Oh yeah, Lee.
He was the best open mic host ever because he would go out there and he would strike out with dirty stuff and be like, "Well, okay, I'm gonna be up here again after the next comedian, so I don't feel bad about being you know what I mean?" It was nice because so like the comedians who were new were like, hey, the guy. It
felt a little easier on you.
It felt a little easier on you. And then the guys who were like me, who were just like, I'm gonna eat Lee up. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. I was like, Lee looks like every guy who fucked my sister. Guys like that. Shit like that. And it was easier. But
I mean, that's the thing
best, about it. The best open mic host ever, I will say.
I guess that's what makes a good open mic host is not necessarily being the funniest. It's really just
it's about being the
loose. It's just about being loose and making everyone comfortable.
You set everyone up. Yeah.
That's really all it is. You don't have to be good at all.
Because if you talk to someone who's like, I crushed as a host, it's like you don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, as a show host, you want to crush. Because as a show host, you want to be like, then what you're doing is setting up the crowd. You want to crush
per se, but
well, you don't want to make the rest of the...
Crushing as the host is just being a really good host and not being the funniest.
Of course, No, you as the host, you always...
I would say Les, I think, is also a great host in that regards because he...
Les
Deegan,
yeah.
Before the Belmore Bean, he used to like you remember this one, he would sing Sinatra... And, do a fucking... He would put on, one of those top hats, too. And it was just, and then, I remember, Vinny joined. The first time I ever...
Such an awesome, joyous guy.
Oh, yeah. Les Deegan is actually my grandma's favorite comedian.
Really? That's funny.
No exaggeration. She's like, do you know Les Deegan? I'm like, yeah, I see him every Monday. It was like, yeah. The Bean, that's why I like the Bean, too, because...
It was a different type of atmosphere.
Yes, it was nice because...
It was, to me, it was wholesome.
There was no thing that said... Don't be dirty, but if you said fuck a million times, you wouldn't do well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it was a cleaner... It was like a Starbucks type of place. It was
it
was like a coffee shop,
People would be, shocked at me. They'd be like... That's the only kind of laugh I ever got there.
People, they would leave and they'd be like, heavens, that was dirty.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, goodness gracious me.
Gertrude, I say, that is horrible the last time we go out.
A little known fact about the Belmore Bean, that's where you and I met.
That's true.
Remember?
Yeah. That's where the love started.
And now they closed. And now they're closed.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys.
But this podcast lives on thanks to the Belmore Bean.
We took it.
If anything, this is the Belmore Bean's eternal sin.
Yeah.
This is original sin.
This is the reason the Belmore Bean went to hell when it died.
Long Island took over.
It's like he's like the guy who owns it just saw you two hold hands one day, and he's like, I gotta burn this place down now.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? This really wasn't worth it. This bar,
is done.
this whole thing, or that bar, whatever it was.
But it was nice just to have I like doing because I would do the Bean, and then I would do Ziggy's, and then I would
it's right there.
It was the move.
Yeah, and then
10 minutes away.
I would either go out east to Shakers, which I did for a little bit.
Yeah.
Shakers was a spot for a while. I would go there sometimes. It was worth it. It was worth it just to get another mic in.
And it was
definitely
worth
a
it
bar.
sometimes just to get like an empty mic, because sometimes you need an empty room, but it would literally go from like the Bean where I had to be clean cut to Ziggy's where I can like lower my shoulders a little bit, and then the Shakers was lower the flies. But if it was the first Monday of the month, I would do the Bean, Ziggy's, and the Crabtrees if I could fit it all in.
Yeah.
And the Bean sucked. The Bean sucked the worst because you had to get there at 5:30 for a set at like 7:30.
Yeah, that's why I never really went that much. Only in the beginning when I didn't have.
And
a
you're
good
just
job.
like, I don't need to do this every week. There is a point where it's like I'm killing myself.
It's because it's 7 o'clock too. That's also like dinner time and people are
Yeah,
eating.
if you want to get home and eat and shower,
work out, stuff like that. That's why I'm late to every mic now because I want to get home. I want to work out and shower.
I don't want to That's why 7 o'clock mics suck.
Yeah.
So hey. Assholes,
they had
move
to.
the time back.
Thursday.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Being jacked is more important than doing comedy. You pussies!
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are all at 8.
Wait, but even 8 still is like...
8's fine,
but you can't start at 9 on Wednesday.
You know, you just... that's the thing. Is people have work in the early morning. I stay up till 5 a.m. because I'm a psychopath. Like most people need sleep. You know what I mean?
You need a ton. There's going to be a day where there wasn't, when I started doing comedy for the first, I'll say 2 years, the only other person who was really around who was my age was Tardo, and for a little bit he wasn't around that much, or maybe Devin Giannini, because when I first started doing it, I was go out to Suffolk because I was always weird about doing sets by me for some reason. I never thought about it, but then I did for a little bit. I was around here, and really I was only maybe me and Tardo were only the I wouldn't see Tardo that much. Sometimes we'd see each other at different mics and stuff like that, but I wasn't really I was really the only young guy who was around here. Maybe Grillo was around sometimes. Grillo was in and out sometimes.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's
Travis.
I feel like we all a lot of the young people kind of showed up at the same time.
Yeah,
I remember when I popped in, Renee introduced himself to me, and
I met all you guys at the same time.
You, Manny,
you, Devin, Renee, all Manny. I feel like so.
Yeah, and then the next,
I knew you. It's funny. I knew you had been there for a while. Yeah. I just got to look at you. I was like, oh, this kid's been doing comedy. Yeah. Not in a good way. You just kind of had that look where.
And then the next group of people
when you got up there.
Yeah, I was always grizzled.
And then the next group of people was Dom and Brandon and Bergen.
Yeah, I remember when
a few months after that.
Bergen started at my mic.
But yeah,
he actually came to my open.
I would just
or our mic.
For the first,
what are you talking about?
I would say for the first 2 years, I would kill myself to do sets in front of no one, and then I would be like, why am I killing myself to get to the Belmore Bean at 5:30?
Yeah, it's the driving, it's the timing. It's just you start to think I'm not getting
one set. I'll do one set at Ziggy's, and I'll feel good.
I mean, if you're gonna take that much time in the day, might as well go to the city, because say what you want about the city mics. But it's more productive stage time than just going to the Belmore Bean over and over again and rushing. If you're gonna rush and spend gas or money,
sometimes there's a diminishing rate of returns. But Crabtrees was always a rep that was worth it for me.
Crabtrees was always at least you go there and you think.
I had a great time there.
As much as I always did rough there, it was always I wanted to go there because I wanted to try. I was I want to go there and do well next time. Every time I left, I was all right, I could do a little better next time. I want to really go there and kill, and I never got a chance before it got closed.
That's the game. What are you gonna do?
I mean, it is what it is.
There's about 2 or 3 mics that and Ziggy's that I'm sad those two are definitely gone. Ziggy's I like just because
Ziggy's was home. Ziggy's the best place ever.
As much as
we should have all got T-shirts.
Yeah, oh my god,
we want to save make a fucking We need to set up a community meeting and gather the local leaders and be we want Ziggy's back.
I mean, you know what it is when you know the people who are actually,
it's
owning it and dealing with it. It's
you're he's got a kid. People's got families.
That's the thing is you realize people have responsibilities and it is what it is.
Even that's what I'm saying about 9 o'clock mics. It's you can't do 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 8:30. Ziggy's used to have 8:30 every day.
Yep.
That's 8:30. It goes to 11.
That was pandemic. We didn't know. A lot of us didn't have jobs.
Yeah, when everyone was working from home or not working, it was really easy.
No, that was before pandemic. It started 8:30.
Ziggy's was 8:30 at one point. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember being this is fire. I can always get here. I would still show up late. But
there was, I think it was definitely Mondays, because that's what I would do Mondays, and then there was... Wednesdays was always when I jacks for some reason for me, but I think Tuesdays was something else. You know, it was always going from place to place Tuesdays. Coasters, I think, was Tuesdays maybe, but it's like,
Coasters.
Like I did Coasters yesterday, and it's all right sometimes.
Coasters is always like I enjoyed it,
still exists.
but it was always like
it's a monthly mic.
Yeah, it's one of those mics where you are,
And there was like I went there yesterday, and it was like people. You know what I mean? Like now that people are coming back out now, like people want to. They're like, hey, let's watch this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
People have more of an attitude of that now, to where it's like, oh, I guess this guy practices a lot. Let me sit down and watch, or I'll watch my game. I'm not gonna annoy the kid,
Right. Yeah.
Or even the guy who's like the people because it doesn't matter if there's someone there in the back and they're just watching TV. You're not gonna fucking annoy the guy for no reason.
He's just minding his own business.
Yeah, I mean,
but if it's like if they're being purposely loud to the point where it's almost like they don't give a shit that you're like trying to do this, but like they're almost trying to make it a point that they don't care.
They want to be on
that they're like, we're gonna talk loud, like we're gonna talk unnecessarily loud. I've had that happen where it's like a passive aggressive thing, and you just get the sense that they're just like they're not confronting you, but there's like they're trying to fuck with you.
Well, I mean, it's either that they're trying to fuck with you, they just don't care. They're just like. Honestly, like this, you're like it's not even you. It's like the show. They're like, you guys shouldn't be doing this. Like, we should be able to just sit here and drink and talk. Like,
it's no,
total
you shouldn't.
Entitlement. Yeah,
you should. You need
but
to listen.
It's entitlement on our end. It's like we should be able to get up here.
Yeah.
No, they should have to listen to what we have to say.
We're very poignant.
Yeah. We're important people. Damn it.
You do have to have that like narcissistic politician mentality of like.
Oh yeah, like
I mean,
you need to listen.
It depends on like what it is.
What I have to say is so important that I like to think of it as almost M. Bison mentality, where it's like M. Bison has this quote where he goes, I went to your village, I fucking destroyed it, I killed all your family. Whether you like it or not, the day M. Bison rolled through the town was the most important day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday, where it's almost like you have to have that mentality to sets, especially if you like.
I feel like my Stalin quote was better than that.
Well, they pretty much have the same. They have the same
hats.
Hats.
They kind of wound into the same meaning. Yeah. No, but you've told me that quote before, and I remember when you first told me that. I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but he means like, to the average person, it has to be so spectacular to them that they have to you have to grab their attention. I think a lot more.
Yeah.
But it has to be nothing to you.
Yeah, for you it has to be like, this is the way I am always. Like, there is no like. Sometimes you go into a room and you're like, I don't know, like there's like not a lot of people in this crowd. Maybe I won't take it that seriously. Maybe I'll just do my not as good shit. But that's bullshit. Like you should go into every room and do fucking 100%. Well because if it should be like Tuesday to you where it should be the greatest thing to that. Right? Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is tough because.
It's hard to maintain that level of energy.
Yeah, or enthusiasm.
Performing in front of like the same five.
Especially when you're an alcoholic, stoner, drug addict who's also suicide. Sorry, are we talking about?
Yeah, that could be all of us.
That's just.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like because it just gets tough. Sometimes you just walk into a mic and you're like,
Well, it's also when it's only your friends there.
Yeah, it's just you guys.
What's
there,
the point?
You know what I mean?
You've already heard these jokes.
There's kind of the opposite of that too, where I see sometimes a lot of guys are like, this guy that I'm seeing at this mic every day is just as funny as those guys I see on TV. And I was like, kind of, maybe not so much. You know what I mean? And sometimes people think that the funniest comedians in the world are the guys that do the mics with, and I'm like, yeah, there's some of them are funny, but it's like they're not as funny as Louis or like Colin Quinn or anything.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, most people with these mics are still just like.
There has to be a level.
I mean, there is those like needle in the haystack times. Yeah. There's gonna be
there's a level of respect where it's like we all do the same thing and stuff like that, but it's no. Sometimes I think when we do too many mics, we get like mic syndrome where we're so used to doing mics, we'll do just jokes that work well at mics instead of jokes that work well in front of regular people. That's why I practice sports jokes so many times, because regular people watch sports all the time.
Yeah, that's what's tough for me is I'm not a big sports fan. I really can't joke about sports, so I'm like...
Exactly.
That's a big thing where it's like I can't really write jokes about it.
Well, that's why I always try to write stuff about like, not necessarily dirty things, but obscure things that I don't think of. Not definitely dirty things, but I don't let it be...
I try to write about dirty things that people would think about. Not things that are so sickening that it's like, oh, people don't even necessarily want to
talk about that.
Think about that, like dirty things that people might come to mind for the average human being, or like just things that are relatable. I'm not, sometimes the subject matter I go with is not dirty at first, but it just becomes dirty because I'm just like that. You know what I mean? I don't mean to.
Yeah, but it's kind of a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of way.
Yeah,
because I remember
it's tough. I
remember we had to talk once after.
It's no way to get booked. We
had to talk once after a show where you were, you were in front of an older crowd, and I think you literally told a joke. You're like, "Where are my weed heads at?" And they're literally. I'm like Tom. These people are literally 50.
I did that.
These people are 50, Tom.
I did a Kim Kardashian punchline, and I don't even remember the joke was probably
Kim
awful.
Kardashian's a lot more mainstream now.
Yeah,
but still at
that
that
people,
point,
everybody knows
those old ass people are sitting there like.
But they're
like,
this guy's
Kim Kardashian. Though. That's like a household name.
I try to be funny to old men. You know what I mean? Like that's why literally I try to break when older guys are at the mics. Like literally an older man who literally just is there because that's the guy who pays for the ticket, and he's the one who's gonna say, "Let's go to the comedy club tonight."
Yeah, he's more likely to go to the comedy club than you're whatever your average young person.
But you'd be surprised though. I mean, you're like by some people's taste in humor. There's a lot of people that are boomers that grew up now watching sort of that irreverent comedy of almost like the Monty Python and Carlin and stuff like that, where it's sort of they want that sort of foul mouthed filthy comic shit.
Yeah. It all depends on what you grew up being taught is funny.
That's why when you go to old people, the best people that do well in front of older people are people that do old one-liners, Dangerfield type jokes.
Yeah, but they're certain guys. I don't know. I feel like there's all certain guys like that, but
different strokes for different.
But
are you chewing gum right now during the podcast?
Dude,
are you fucking serious?
I ran out of water, bro.
Dude, come on, man.
Fuck you. You want some?
No, I'm a professional, man.
Oh, yeah? Is that it?
I'm taking this shit seriously.
Do you, though?
This is our livelihood right here.
Yeah, dude. We make so much money off this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much money.
So rich.
How much? Read the figures,
all this podcast
Read how much we get paid. Read how much we get paid.
A lot of zeros. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of zeros.
Right after the decimal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of like you kind of live by the sword, kind of die by the sword, kind of stuff like that.
Right.
But sometimes it just happens with mics. I think people gravitate.
Who's Mike?
Yeah.
Get
people gravitate.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
People that are watching this don't know Mike's here.
They really gravitate towards dirty stuff because it works a little more at mics just because we're all pieces of shit and we'll look at our phones.
I mean, that's not always true. Like Mike McPartland. Speaking of mics, I gave it to you. But Mike McPartland is one of the more clean comedians who you see at mics, even in Long Island and in the city. And he usually pretty much kills. He makes people laugh at least. People usually appreciate him. It's like a breath of fresh air versus my you ever notice the fucking penis when you cut it off?
But then there's the opposite to that, where it's Billy Guy, goes up in front of those old people and literally only talks about having his dog lick peanut butter off his dick. You know what I mean? I'm saying both styles work, but with Billy, it's definitely a much harder sell. And when Billy he knows what to do when he's in front of older people to be like, I'll set up this joke with this joke just because they're older. Or it's a lot.
That's a good way to think about it. I mean, that's the way you should look at a crowd. It's that's how you quote unquote read the room.
Yeah.
You say all right, this crowd is so whatever age or whatever demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's not do
the script for the room. You read the room.
Your own favorite.
Is this like you just trying to do
It was a pun cast orange. Didn't you realize that?
Are you reading from a teleprompter of shitty ass?
Welcome to the Red Rapist podcast.
Dude, this is a pun cast orange. It's a new segment I'm starting.
So we need to have Chris Capel on that.
What do you have fans of the show called? Clockheads?
Clockheads? It's not bad. I guess I was thinking Drews because of the movie.
Oranges. You should call them oranges.
Oranges?
Oranges.
Oranges?
Aren't you glad I didn't say orange?
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Okay.
All right. That's it. Good. Thank you for listening. That's how
we're all gonna shoot ourselves at this now.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about because we've got some time here. I did want to bring up the Tony Hinchcliffe thing again and talk about it more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not just how we want to kill him, how we really want to torture him before we do it. You know what I mean? No, but seriously.
I think.
How do you guys
is there any way you
like,
can torture a guy more than having himself be Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yeah. More than having your face.
He already had to live his first 14 years as a puppet.
Yeah, I don't think anything is worse than looking like an albino sea lamprey. I agree.
He honestly looks like if Steve-O didn't do any drugs his entire life and just
grew into a
became like a boring accountant. You know, like just has a.
I'm gonna make fun of his body type rather than his face because he could probably hear this and be like, "I am handsomer than all three of these guys put together."
Is he though?
He's
like
not.
I mean, he looks like a fish.
No, I'm joking.
He might think that.
No, I know.
He might be like, I'm handsomer. I can't even do his voice.
I know, but he's hurting now. I kind of feel bad for that guy.
I'm not gonna lie. I've reassessed the situation because, well, I'll be honest. When I first saw the video,
but
I never get mad at comedians for being offensive. But sometimes I'll see them do stuff, and I'll just be like, "You're a fucking idiot! Like, why would you do that? You're an idiot! Like, that was so dumb! Like, you kind of did this to yourself." But then you hear more of the context. Like Ari Shaffir put out that thing where he's like, if you want to watch the whole thing and get more of the context of like what happened and see how the show actually was, you might not feel so upset.
You know, context is just part of rape culture.
Yeah, I agree. Like context is just another word for get down, you bitch.
Context is what a rapist lawyer says. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, context is basically what Kobe said.
It also kind of sucks because he's literally like, could you believe if I said that, you know? And it was Chappelle has this quote where he says, sometimes the funniest thing is the most offensive thing to say. And, you know, it isn't...
It depends,
it's not necessarily
true.
Because it's offensive.
It's just
because
shocking.
it's offensive. It's not necessarily because it's offensive. Sometimes the funniest thing to say is just an offensive statement.
Right.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Well, if it's over the top, if the situation calls for an over the top or purposely over the top. And I mean, the thing about it is, like, when I saw that, I'm thinking, there's no way this guy just out of nowhere comes onto a stage and just
the way I felt.
Hold on, so like he's not gonna just go on stage and just say like, "Hey, you fucking," you know.
And when you see his
and
set
like
before,
you're not, you know. So yeah, you realize like, okay,
there's kind of pander, and when you're kind of the thing too is when you're a pandering,
like what preempted that.
You know what I mean? Ari Shaffir, it's weird you said Ari Shaffir because Ari Shaffir, I was listening to Ari Shaffir and Godfrey have the conversation where they were talking about like, just you know I forget what group they were talking about. Maybe black comics or like Latino comics, where it's like, you guys get caught in traffic too, right? You know what I mean? Like, not every joke has to be all about being like. For him, it was every joke was about being a Chinese guy.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that pun of every joke, Chinese thing. You know?
Or that
I
over the top
understand
Chinese
that perspective. I kind of feel the only way I'd push back on that is where it's like, you know, I think a comedian can joke about whatever they want to. Like if they feel like they want to joke about all Asian stuff. That's fine, and if you're white, it's even better.
But when the guy after you, who you opened for multiple times, makes fun of you for being pandery for that,
then it's kind of it's a little more. It feels a little more. I don't want to say called for because people will look at me and be like, "Well, he called him a chink. That's never called for." And it's like, I guess you're right on paper, but like I don't know, the bit might have been called.
It's one of those things,
like the bit that he was doing,
or the over the top racist. I mean, he was. The thing about it is, I personally
did say was pretty.
Well, I personally hate like over the top.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where I didn't necessarily think it was the funniest.
No, I don't. No, I'm not talking about Tony Hinchcliffe. I'm saying I hate over the top like fake accents of humor, or when people talk about like. You know, my Chinese grandmother was like...
It's a Miho joke. It's called a Miho joke. It's literally what they teach at every...
It's just pandering.
It's the thing they teach at every comedy class, to every,
it's so hacky.
To every first person.
And that's what the opener was doing before the guy...
Yeah, literally, that's what I'm saying. Like, Ari Shaffir and literally Godfrey were saying, like, you guys get caught in traffic. Like, talk about apples. Talk about something. That's why the two best gay comics, I think, in the country are Tim Dillon and Todd Glass.
Because they're not
they're not overly effeminate gay guys, and when they talk about being gay, like Todd Glass literally does it with a band mocking him, where he's like, they mock him for being pandery. So he's like, you know, God, you guys know I'm gay. He's like, oh, you're gay. Oh,
he also wasn't open forever. I mean, I feel like he opened up recently. Like, I don't know if he was... Todd Glass was open in, like, the early 2000s.
Oh, he was. It was on Tosh Point.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about
being gay. Well, no, Tosh Point, but I don't know how...
I know, obviously, no.
Well, yeah, I mean...
I'm obviously not...
There could be a thing, though, where it's
I'm not up his ass. I'm not his boyfriend.
Like, what do you mean? He was on Tosh Point? Of course he was
gay. He was like... You know he was being gay on Tosh Point.
He was totally a gay
Yeah, but there could be a thing of, like... It starts off
blowing Ari Shaffir on Tosh Point.
He was blowing Ari. Yeah, it was funny.
It starts off like an initial where you're afraid of like doing these jokes, so you just start doing obvious Asian shit.
Yeah.
And then crowds like it, and so you think in my head like, oh shit, this stuff works. So then you go down like I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna make like a whole character, and blah, blah,
and
blah,
I'm not
blah,
even,
and then it starts continuing.
I'm not even gonna say like being like Tony Hinchcliffe was being hilarious. It's like I wasn't like
I don't think anyone's ever
wasn't
said
that funny.
I
it
giggled.
was definitely an off-putting.
I giggled. I wasn't like it was.
I don't think anyone's ever said that Tony Hinchcliffe was being hilarious.
Funniest. I don't think it was the funniest thing to say, but I also don't think like.
I mean, yeah, it's the attempt you watch.
It's the attempt at being offensive is what I want to defend. I don't want to defend him and his jokes. I want to defend. I'm saying something offensive for the sake of being.
No, funny. I agree, Patrice. But anyway,
I know.
No, yeah, it's the Patrice philosophy, and but I do agree with it because I mean, quite frankly, it's the same thing as if I got up there and because I'm Italian, I did like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Hey, what's going on? Bada bing. You ever had my mom's sauce? Too many onions in the garlic.
Are you talking about like most comedians and governors? What are you saying?
Yeah.
there are, but there's, but I'm saying it happens. I'm not even saying it just is like with, it's not just with white, it's not just with black people or like Latino or gay people. It's with everyone.
Yeah, with everything.
Like, if you talked about being Irish for 10 minutes or whatever, you talked about being Polish for 10 minutes. I'm like, wow, that guy's so Polish. I can't believe he remembered all of his jokes. Shit like that. I'm gonna make fun of you for that. It's just
right.
the way. And Tony Hinchcliffe, he was one of the head writers on Comedy Central roast battles and stuff like roasts.
So it makes sense that
he likes to go over the top.
Yeah, and it makes sense that he would try to like.
It's also one of these things too. But it's like from the opener, I feel like almost a sense of like a little bit of like dishonestly a little bit because he opens for him a bunch of times. There's no way he hasn't made fun of him for doing that. He could have just been like, hey Tony, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like, I support him being upset because you could I could see myself getting down off stage after I opened for somebody who I like kind of look up to maybe, and he just immediately shits on me, or like calls me a guinea or something. Like I might go up to him and personally and be like, "Hey man, like that kind of made me upset actually."
Tom would go up to me like, "Hey man, do you remember who I am?"
It's the fact that
he's open. Hey man, am I allowed back here?
He opened for him multiple times and just went directly to Twitter. Which is the fuck. He knew what he was doing the whole time too. Where he's like, I know I'm gonna get 1 million views on this. He got interviewed by TMZ.
The only thing is, I don't know why he would think that would help him. Like you think about all these comedians or all these people who get known for canceling someone or for jumping on the bandwagon.
Nobody gets
you really don't hear
that.
about them other than people saying fuck them.
Yeah.
Like people will be like, yeah, fuck so and so because they shout.
I can't even think of an example of like a comedian like that.
It's the Rogan policy where it's like everyone. There's people who dislike Joe Rogan. But there's a consistent basis with people who dislike Joe Rogan who are like other comedians who are just trying to like.
Well, there's some comedians who make it their entire personality that they don't like Joe Rogan,
it's like, who
or
cares?
not even Joe Rogan per se, but they don't like the typical. No, they don't like the typical like guy humor. Like everybody that's like there are journalists and I say journalists I mean like bloggers and other comics who make it like their entire personality, persona, shtick, Twitter feed, everything is fuck anybody who's like Rogan or does jokes like that, or even has like a remotely different opinion, and it's just like
right. And I think when we act defensive,
and it's just like Rogan is just another dumb guy.
Yeah, he's just what I mean. He's just a dumb jock. That's all it is.
It's just a dumb jujitsu guy.
Right,
and the fact that people get so offended by it is the reason why so many people hear him. Is because the people who are actually it's the retweet quote function. It's just like the dumbest mental breakdown.
Any publicity is good publicity, so people should realize like the more you tweet about these people and complain about it, the more that their person is ultimately going to get views.
You know who loves Twitter? Tucker Carlson. Because
I hate that.
I hate him too. I dislike him. I think he's a douche. But guess what? When he goes into his negotiating meeting, they're going to negotiate his contract. He goes, guess he was trending on Twitter last week, and he puts his feet up on the desk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a negotiating point for these people.
Well, Tucker Carlson is the most watched cable news show in the country.
Just
now,
like
that's
O'Reilly,
fuck up,
right? But it's not unlike Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, but it's more fucked
up. There's a lot of airports in America. But that's true.
No, but it's more fucked up with Tucker Carlson because he's legitimate.
Like he owns a grocery store. I hate him.
Yeah,
he's
so
legitimate
awful,
like white supremacist though, and so
I mean he's just retarded. Like he's just so stupid. He spreads lies and like.
And he used to wear a bow tie.
He's like country club racist, where he's like these people from the urban neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Wink. Wink.
He's
He
like,
lives in
they
the
don't-
gated community. His name is Tucker Carlson. And
He's like, they
part
don't
of
want you to be afraid of the blacks in the streets, but you should be afraid of them.
Yeah.
Well,
because they're coming to your home.
His family is part of the Swanson Chicken Diner, whatever, like dinner empire. So,
That's weird.
like his mother married into like that whole dynasty, and he like went to.
He's just a breaded cutlet. This motherfucker.
Yeah, he's basically just a wealth cuck.
No.
He is, and he's not. And he went to a fucking private. All these people go to these like private high schools where.
Yeah. So it's one of the other things where it's like, I feel like that happens with like some of Rachel Maddow's kid.
Yeah, they go to these.
They're not gonna go to PS12.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for some of them. The fact of the matter is, like, most of these people that go to these select few private schools end up going to these Ivy League colleges.
Oh, yeah,
and then those are the people that end up getting jobs where they, like, control, businesses and
but this is
media
like
empires.
but that's just rich people stuff now. You know what I mean? Like, it's, look at, remember the whole, Olivia, the girl who was, oh my god, Aunt Lori's daughter?
Wait.
Lori Loughlin?
Lori Loughlin, Full House, yeah. Lori Loughlin.
Olivia Jade.
Oh.
Olivia Jade, the daughter.
Right.
I don't know.
The part for her that pissed off so many people was that like they took a rowing scholarship away from someone. Where it's like they took a rowing scholarship. Did they really take a rowing scholarship away from someone?
Was she really gonna get rowing? Like, how is she?
But Dr. Dre literally posted a thing with his daughter holding a diploma, and she's like, "Yeah, my daughter didn't have to pretend to be no fake rower to get into school." And it's like, under it, you just see Dr. Dre donated $2 million to USC to build a new library. Like,
I'm Dr. Dre's daughter. That's all she has to say in the interview.
You know what I mean? It's, people just do the same shit.
Like, what are your
it's like the people. I think the
qualifications?
people who watch Tucker Carlson are just as dumb as the people who watch the other thing. I don't know, NBC.
Sorry.
Anybody that...
I don't even watch. Who watches the news? I don't watch the news anymore.
I don't watch NBC.
No, I know.
Like,
But don't
my
your
news
parents
from
watch
Rogan.
Tucker Carlson?
Oh, they do, yeah. It makes me very upset. It makes me very upset,
flip
and
back
they'll
and
do it
forth.
at dinner, and it'll piss me off. But, like, I mean, the thing about it is, like, it is what it is. Like,
You should have him on the
oh,
podcast.
God, sometimes.
Tucker.
Sometimes I just
Tucker.
want to kill Tucker
I've seen a
Carlson,
couple
you know
of
what I mean?
interviews with Tucker.
You think I'll finally
Not
answer
really.
one of Jack's emails?
But,
Tucker, why won't you be on the show? No, you think that
Debate me, Tucker, please.
Tucker, please. We love you, please. We're big fans.
Tucker? I've seen a couple of his interviews, and
We know you're a big
his,
clockhead.
Yeah,
You're a big-
We know big
we know
aren't
you're a
you?
Drew,
We
Tucker.
know you're big, aren't you?
A big aren't you?
a big Druge. That's what.
A big Drew. Is
No,
it
but I've
Drew?
seen like his interview style, and the way he does it is he'll ask somebody a question, and then while they're answering it, he'll like, but then you're saying that blah 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 blah, and then he'll just keep.
And they'll be like, well,
he'll like throw like 5 different questions about like nothing. He's like, so you just don't care about the troops? Is that what you're saying? Because there's a lot of people, and then you just amplify it, and then you're like, wow, I don't even know what this guy's talking about, and. It's like, that's his style. I don't know why anyone signs up
Yeah,
to
I
be on
just
the
hate the
show.
way he looks when
It's
he's
just
not.
the news
like,
these days.
ugh,
There's
it's
so many
awful.
times
Yeah.
where it's like, after they hit the credits where both people are like, I won that. Or both people are like, I won that argument.
I own the
when
shit out of
when
that
they start
guy.
getting
Yeah.
sweaty on
Yeah.
you can see their makeup starting to run on TV. They're just like, all right, we need to cut the air because
Like, there's definitely people who look like total idiots who think they're right, but it's usually one person says something. It's usually person A says something right, person B says something wrong, person B says something right, person A says something wrong. And you want to agree with both parts, but...
I mean, usually with Tucker Carlson, he never says anything right.
I don't even know.
But
I've seen Bill Nye, the science guy, and Tucker Carlson once. That was a great interview.
See,
Don't
that
you
was
think you're-
probably
Don't you think you're
crazy.
part of the problem? Because you've definitely watched enough Tucker Carlson now that you're part... You're
I've
a
seen
viewer.
a couple of interviews.
You're a viewer.
I was like, what do you mean?
What are you
I don't-
talking about? I'm not part of the problem. I want to get a
But
sense
I
of
think
what
he's
it's
a
like.
douchebag, too.
Yeah, I just want to get a sense of, like, I want to see
Yeah, I mean, come to
for
think of it,
myself
I
what it's like.
I
Come to
know,
think of
you
it,
know
I
what I'm
watched him.
saying, though, right? It's the same thing with Rogan.
Well, what? Like, where you feel like he's more of a...
Well,
He all he is just a douche. I mean, like,
Yeah, but you know what I mean? But I feel like just the people who freak out about this constantly are actually spreading Tucker Carlson more. Where it's,
I mean, yeah.
Well,
you
but the
can't
thing
really
about
be-
him is,
yeah.
like, what are you talking about when I said that he's a white supremacist?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you definitely don't. I don't know. He's definitely racist as fuck. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking racist.
I'm saying
Shit,
you watch it too much.
I watch like a couple of interviews.
Come to think of it, I only watch it because my parents forced me at dinner time. You've watched it just.
You watched it on your own.
Let me get this.
I just wanted to see what it's like.
You listen to the last 5 minutes. You're like, this guy has watched some. You know what I'm saying, though, man?
Yeah.
No, I wanted to see what it's like, so I watched a couple of interviews of people on top. I wanted to see what all the fuss about.
I know, we all do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But that's a good thing. You should want to like just see.
I mean, I've listened.
Even if everybody says it's shitty, I'm like, all right, well, I want to see for myself. I don't want to base my opinion based on.
I've listened to Ben Shapiro for like 30 seconds. You know, that's as much as I can take. But I've listened to him just to see what he has to say.
I listened to that. Did you ever watch?
But I haven't. You know what I mean?
You've never seen anything with Ben Shapiro?
True.
Here's the thing. I actively avoid Jordan Peterson because I think he's the boringest person on fucking earth. Yeah, he's a fucking self-help guy for like white guys who are like
Jordan Peterson.
Who are like, I have to make my bed in the morning. Holy shit! You know,
if you just
I watched 20 minutes of him on Rogan. I was like, this is the most boring. I'm like, what even is this guy? This guy's just another dumb college professor.
He's just a walking suit.
Yeah.
That's all he is. He's a walking tie.
There's nothing interesting to say. Everything he says is basically just the same as
I don't think he's like this like ideologue racist. I don't even know what he stands for.
He's definitely not racist. He definitely doesn't have one malicious view. His views are basically just, hey man, clean your room and straighten your life out.
Well, I think
that's all it is.
I think it's more. I think it's more than that, though. I think some of his views are just about. Like it's his stuff is very like anti-political correctness, anti-SJW.
Yeah.
What happened was, but that's just like his belief system.
I agree with
and
that.
So like I do too. But what happened was his belief system got like corrupted because he started like he gave interviews
and he had this
flirting. Well, he had this interview with Kathy Newman where he made her look like this idiot. And then all these people in the alt-right started, or not even the alt-right, just like regular conservatives like Ben Shapiro, started to get in touch with him, and he became like this conservative celebrity, but he was never really like a hardcore conservative.
No, but I almost feel like, especially with conservatives, I feel like the overreaction to the conservatives helps them so much more to keep going.
No, I agree. Like all the times they get rid of people from colleges, like when they got rid of Milo Yiannopoulos from Berkeley, he was supposed to give some speech, and people protested like, fucking Milo, and it's like, dude.
You know what he's doing? He's counting his book money.
Dude, I think of Richard Spencer when he came to my college. He came to UF.
Milo came to my college after.
Oh wow.
He definitely came to UF.
Dude, Richard Spencer he might have.
Well, over there.
He might have came to UF just to like snoop around. Yeah. Just go to the.
There's probably one of the cool that might be slightly colder.
Yo, Jack, you want to grab me one?
Water?
Yeah, there's green teas in there. There's some margarita mix.
We're getting funky tonight, yeah. But
like the overreaction to them, I feel like almost helps them a lot more. Where I feel like even like
it does.
The people who freak out,
because you look crazy when you're.
If we just ignored them, it's literally the type of thing where if you ignored them, they wouldn't be able to gain steam. Like,
where it's like Joe Rogan has a huge viewership because half the people are like, I fucking hate.
Dude, they deployed the National Guard at UF because Richard Spencer was having a speech. It's like, why? Like, this guy's nothing.
Because he wants to sell books.
Yeah.
And it helps. Yeah,
the idiots are gonna buy his books and be like, I hate this book. I'm buying this book from this racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the thing also about it is that it just sort of it's really selfish to say like, I don't want this person to speak at my college, so I'm gonna like throw a fucking fit. Mm-hmm. It's like, what about people that just genuinely they don't even know about this guy. They're they're just hey, here's this guy. I'm not doing anything. I want to hear what they have to say.
I didn't know who Milo Yiannopoulos was until he was on my campus that day. I didn't know who he was. I was like, who the fuck's this guy? He's like some crazy weirdo conservative guy who got kicked off Twitter. I'm like, all right. And he's this weirdo gay guy. And what he did was he put a Twitter thing on a coffin and started smashing it with an axe.
Really?
Just in the middle
that
of
was the big statement?
Yeah. And I'm like, he's just doing performance art. I'm like, you guys are idiots. He's doing performance art.
He's like a gay racist Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, he's kind of like the racist version of it's like the racist version of Kevin Brogan.
He's like a racist Kevin. They're like they're photo negatives.
Here's what I think of black people, and then he just
here's my hood. You know, he
just grabs a Klan hood and puts it on.
Kevin Brogan's black fiance is gonna love this, by the way. Don't worry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, Kevin's not racist. Trust me, Kevin's black.
Kevin's a great guy.
Kevin loves the black.
Another example I thought about this, where I was thinking this the other day, was I passed this when I was a senior in college. I would walk past this big classroom building, and there would be this lady who was like dressed like a fucking Amish lady who was just up there yelling about masturbation is a sin. Homosexuals, yada yada yada. Just being like a weirdo. And like,
that'd be funny if she really said yada yada yada.
Yeah.
She's like yada yada yada.
You get what I'm doing.
You get the picture.
Facts, yada
Get
yada
what I'm
yada.
saying? Gay, bad.
You feel me?
Go to hell.
That's where I
Like,
my
you heard this all before.
You heard
it was pretty much Jack's act. But the whole thing is just like,
What if
I walked past her and I was like, what is she trying to accomplish here? Like, no one's gonna walk past this girl and be like, I'm not gonna be gay anymore. You're right. But what happened was, it became a rallying point for disenfranchised people, like, you know, lesbian, gay, LGBTQ, all those people.
all the sinners.
Yes, would like hang out and like protest her around her.
Oh yeah.
And I'm literally like sitting there. I'm like, you're giving her what she wants.
She
She
just
wants
wants
attention.
She wants people. It's kind of like when Steven Crowder would do those things where he'd be like, you know, abortion is horrible. Like, what was it? He's like, prove me wrong or something like that. And then it's just like it's just somebody like screaming like,
dude, oh my, and like him and Ben Shapiro debate college kids. I'm like, the worst is when like these guys debate college kids and then other idiots are like, that guy's smart. I'm like, he just debated some sophomore.
Yeah, right.
Like,
he really destroyed that 18-year-old.
Ben Shapiro destroys SJW college kid.
Oh, we're gonna do this again.
That kid did 14 shots yesterday. Like, you're not proving anything to anyone.
Yeah,
and that kid's not walking away. It's like, you know who's right? Ben Shapiro.
Dude, I remember these people there was like these anti-abortion people who'd come to UF and they'd stand in like the public spaces and they'd have like pictures of dead fetuses on like these fucking huge like plywood boards, like just literally just displaying them and say like, this is what abortion is, and kids would stand there and like yell about it and complain.
Looks like dog
it's so gross. Like, how could you say that? Like, abortion is evil, you know,
just
like
be screaming at
kids would be like, they'd be just like screaming at each other, like big circle of, you know, 19-year-olds yelling at these old ass Christians, and it's like, why don't you just go to class? Like, you have class, you have work to do. Go to the fucking
go to a party, you know,
get high, go home, and get high. Like,
do a keg stand, whatever the fuck you guys do.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, like, I'm not impressed. Like,
it's like, I'm triggered by these abortion photos. Like, so go away.
Yeah, it's like, just go away. Don't read it.
It's like that old joke, like, it hurts when I scratch here, so don't scratch there. You know, it's just like, why are you fucking...
There's an old great documentary about abortion clinics on HBO. I'm forgetting the name right now. I believe it's 14th of February or something. It's one about this one in Florida.
Flusher.
It's literally, it follows the people who run the clinic, and then it follows the people who are like the crazy outside people at the same time. So like they follow the crazy outside people, and they're following like the abortion doctor to like, the abortion doctor has to get picked up by the guy who owns the clinic in a Walmart parking lot, and the guy who is protesting is following the guy to the Walmart parking lot and getting the doctor's like license and stuff like that, and writing it down. We're just like, Jesus Christ, like, don't you have something better to do?
Yeah, it's like,
it's a dangerous job to do.
Don't you have a life? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, there's been so many cases where abortion clinics have been blown up since the 1980s by far-right Christian groups.
Yeah.
But nobody ever started calling them terrorists, man.
Well, they should have.
Yeah, I mean... It's
dumb.
It's just society, because America's always been biased towards the Christian. It's just been, you know, quote unquote Christian nation, white Christian nation for so long. It's like even today, it's like when people were freaking out about
damn straight,
damn straight. Now I like it that way, boy. And if you don't like it, you better just walk your
podcast
out of
here.
It's a good old America.
Jack, let me ask you something. How do you feel about gay marriage? And you better choose your words wisely, boy.
I think the homos can marry whoever they want.
Let me ask you something there, son. If your NFL team was to sign a quarterback, who would it be?
Let me ask you something, son. If there was a flag and you were feeling disgruntled about something in American society and they were saying the pledge,
is that a Tim Tebow jersey?
He's good.
Is that a Tim Tebow jersey? He's good.
He's good. Welcome to the party,
your boy got signed. Do you see that?
They just have sex. What happened? He got signed?
He got signed to the Jaguars.
Oh my god.
Tim Tebow did?
Yeah, but it's literally just a ploy to sell jerseys.
Yeah, he's not going to play it at all.
Jaguars?
And last year they changed the rules for numbers, so like he could be 15, and you could literally just have a 15 Jaguars Tebow jersey.
It's crazy. I've never seen a football player who's so much better as a college kid.
Well, I've never seen
because he was on a stacked team. His offense was absolutely stacked. When you think about it,
didn't he play for Florida?
Wasn't he on the same time as Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah, dude. When you look at his offense, he had Percy Harvin, Riley Cooper. Great guys. Aaron Hernandez.
Brilliant. Yeah.
The Pounceys. He had 2 Pro Bowl linemen on his line. The only guy who I think didn't go into the NFL draft was the running back who went to the Olympics for sprinting.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean?
Holy fuck!
Like that was a stacked team, and I think they almost carried him because.
It's crazy how he gets the worship though. Like if you go to UF, there's 3 statues in front of the fucking stadium. It's like one is of an old comedian, One is of an old comedian. George Carlin. One is of an old QB who I can't remember. One's of Steve Spurrier, who the stadium is now named after.
Yeah.
And one is
of... What the fuck is that? We don't... Normal people don't know.
He's a college football coach. He's a college football coach. He won the Heisman of Florida.
Yeah, people probably don't know who that is.
He's a very well-known man.
Yeah, I don't think the average person knows.
The only other statue, though, is Tim Tebow. They don't have, statues of the whole fucking team.
They can't build an Aaron statue.
I mean, it's also just, what's so great about these guys? They're one team member.
And also, he's kind of the only one who, besides the Pounceys, who didn't get, Riley Cooper got in racist trouble.
They gotta have an Aaron Hernandez statue. Just at a rock
just
noose.
Him standing with a gun.
Did you guys watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary?
Yes. That was a sad.
Tom. I'm gonna ruin his home for you.
That's alright. You can ruin it.
He killed the guy.
No, he killed it. He definitely killed it.
Alright. I didn't want you to ruin the ending.
He 100% killed those people, and the University of Florida covered it up. 100%. 100%.
No, I mean.
Also,
but at least
the guy,
there's not a rapist from our school.
The guy talking about him was the first person who talks about him is his high school gay boyfriend Flame, I'll say, and you literally just hear it in his voice where it's this guy just loves sucking Aaron's dick. Right, Jack, am I wrong?
He was such a nice guy.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy who was always smiling.
He was a difficult...
Well, he was always smiling, and then you look at every picture of him, he looks like murder.
He looks like her.
Yeah,
I gotta say that the thing does not paint a nice picture of the NFL. They came to he grew up in a shitty town that they came to
but part of it too is the extension of I think college. He got the perfect situation going to the North for football. He was from Connecticut, so I think the North in football isn't really big. But down there,
Penn State,
you don't get how big it is.
Dude, the SEC is a different. It's a different level.
When Jameis Winston at my school got accused of rape. There was so many things that's why I don't believe
she was guilty of, by the way.
My policy on any person saying anything sexual, I don't know. Yeah. I wasn't there. That is my new thing because I heard every little thing the U of F had a plant in the law office. Her boyfriend was a linebacker for this.
That should just be people's general philosophy regarding any of these accusations. Everybody acts they were in the room now when they heard somebody's been accused.
But I saw great just people being asked do you think Jameis Winston was on drugs that night? Where I was how the fuck should I know?
Yeah, I mean I get that, but I still think he raped that guy.
Oh, I mean, listen, that guy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But I mean, what I think is it's true that the thing is we forget that the point of our justice system, and this is hack Marxist people try to say, well, our justice system is unethical anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that it's our justice system. It's what we use, and we have this thing called due process where someone has to get accused.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking find evidence and shit.
Well, the problem is that nowadays it's if you get accused...
The same laws that are supposed to protect the people who are being afflicted by crimes are actually protecting the accusers.
Right. Well, it's the problem is now, if somebody gets accused, now if it was a high-profile person, there'll be all these documentaries, all these things, and then if that person even tries to tell his side of the story, the media company will get criticized for interviewing them. It's that's America. You have due process. This isn't an ancient civilization.
CNN releases a documentary about the whole thing called The Hunting Ground, where it's they're talking about how rape happens a lot on college campus, and their thesis isn't wrong. Where I don't disagree with their thesis at all. Where it's rape happens a lot on college campuses. And college campuses cover it up because who wants to say who go
come to the school.
We went to Rape University.
Yeah.
Professor Tom Crescenzo.
They give those out on the tours instead of condoms. They're and here's your whistle. You're gonna need.
And they say a lot of times the rapists are athletes who are financially taken care of. not taken care of. Like if Jameis Winston got there was a quarterback after Jameis Winston got accused, got caught punching his girlfriend pretty much, and he was kicked off the team, and that lowers the team's value when they try to sell to networks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like getting 3 rapists on your squad's program.
I mean, yeah.
Isn't going to look good when your conference is trying to sell.
Yeah.
To,
I mean, my whole
network.
thing, that's what I hate about sports, though. And this is why I kind of agree.
So they cover it up.
That's kind of why I agree with Joe Paterno getting fired from Penn State, is because it's like, people are like, he didn't rape anybody. It's like, yeah, but fuck him. He covered it up and fuck the whole school.
What about the hunting ground?
I don't think Penn State's a bad school.
What about the hunting ground?
I had a point about the hunting ground I want to say, but that I knew just from being around that she took a tox screen that night, and in the hunting ground a tox screen like of what was in her blood, like they took a sample of her blood and they're like there's this and that, but I knew for a fact that she took a tox screen that night, and he found her at Popeyes, and like there's pictures of them making out like online too, so it's but obviously
that obviously that doesn't make it like good.
Yeah. I'm not saying
you can make out with someone, then they can make but I don't.
But also what I'm about to say too is like she said that she thinks that he put something in her drink, where I know that there was a talk screen the next day, and instead of CNN's, she claims that he put something in her drink that didn't show up in the talk screen. Where it's like one of those things where it's
like I was on the case with this one. And when I reviewed the talk screen,
but he's also 6'4", 225, so he doesn't need to drug her.
He doesn't need to drug her. She might have just said that because she didn't want to. It's harder to accuse someone of strong arm raping you.
Yeah,
because strong arm rape is like a more serious crime than like something like.
But I'm also like, it's literally one of those things where I hear every detail where it's like it was a setup by this and this and that just to hurt Florida State, so Florida State couldn't compete with.
Yeah, but I mean even
the university. This guy who's the prosecutor in this case is the University of Miami thing. Where I'm like, do you really think that?
That's so deep. I mean, that's it's too much conspiracy theory with sports.
Well, the problem is those conspiracies start to happen and now they get normalized.
But how big is Florida? How big is football in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, even in Florida, like I'm not gonna I went to UF, and it's pretty fucked up that they covered up like
millions.
I'm not surprised.
They covered up Aaron Hernandez murder. They covered up murder.
They tried to cover up the Ray Rice incident. What happened was as soon as the Ray Rice incident came out, that's like opened the floodgates for the NFL. Because that was like they realized like here's all these cases of domestic violence which they've just sort of hidden and pushed it away. Because you can't. There was one year I remember when like 28, like the entire Cincinnati Bengals team got arrested in like the same month.
There was
like
insane.
There was just like a bunch of criminals.
There was a really good piece on Real Sports a few months ago, Real Sports on HBO, that actually the NFL has a lower rate of domestic violence than like the regular population. But who has
that's why. I mean, that just shows to show. Like,
but it is bigger and stronger guys doing it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it's also guys who make millions of dollars and are worshipped by people all across the country.
So people know who they are.
But they had a lower one than the regular, just like regular people. But a higher one was MMA fighters had a much higher rate of domestic violence.
I'm not surprised by that. Honestly, I mean, I know Conor.
Dude, they need some practice.
It's like, come on, what's better than a heavy bag than a live one?
Oh, come on, hon.
Jesus. I gotta fight tonight.
She was Irish, so that's that's the old-fashioned Irish abortion, the left hook to the body.
Even in other sports, like one of the starting pitchers for the Yankees, Domingo Germán.
Yeah.
He was suspended for an entire year for being a domestic. So you think like not?
So why can't these guys be nice to women like Tyson?
Oh yeah, like Tyson.
Or like K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. Remember him? He did like he was.
The problem too is that there are guys who do shit like that, and then there's like Josh Gordon, who's like a wide receiver who just can't stop smoking weed. Like, just cannot, fails every drug test.
Damn.
And he's, like, banned for the NFL for life, but, like, people who beat up women get.
Yeah, it's like, why? Yeah, it's like,
well, it's also depending on what you do. Like, I personally think the most evil, like, Michael Vick, like, above and beyond, is, like, the most evil of all the fucking scumbag. But people
I would disagree because Jameis Winston raped a real woman and Aaron Hernandez murdered a human.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez.
But, I mean, come on, it was.
Yeah, but he killed dogs.
Yeah, but fucked up.
dogs are...
I'm not going to say fuck dogs on the show.
What are you saying?
My dog
come
might
on,
hear
dude.
this.
Listen, as much as we love dogs, like, it's... let's be real about this. Like, I hate all the cute
Ray Rice punched one woman. Michael Vick killed, like, a lot of dogs.
Yeah, but you know what? Aaron Hernandez shot a guy.
Which life is worth more, bitch or a bitch?
Someone. Like, how are the dogs worse?
Because
they're just dogs.
Okay,
it's fucked up and evil. It's evil, but they're just dogs.
I think it's more worse because dogs.
How?
Because dogs are more like innocent than human beings.
So if you're a human being, since you're not innocent, you deserve to get raped.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
that's not what I'm saying at all. You're being like Tucker Carlson. You're like, what? So you hate America? Is that what you're saying? Like fucking.
No. You're right.
You hate America.
But you disagree with
that.
You hate America. You love the terror.
It's either you hate America or you're a Nazi.
Exactly. There's so many people are Nazis today.
Come on. Really? You can't. You got to make a point here. How is killing dogs worse than murdering a person or raping a person?
Dante Stallworth played again after murdering someone.
Because, I don't know. I just feel like... it depends on it depends on the murder, right?
Yeah, because we're all more sad when
we're literally just going to turn into clips.
We are more sad when the animal dies in the movie.
Because we're all shitheads.
Guys, this podcast is literally just going to turn into us yelling about Opie and Anthony clips that me and Tom have listened to 200 times.
Oh, God. Yeah. Let's not let it devolve into that. I mean, we'll wrap it up.
But, Michael, it is one of those things, too, where it's like, I do think, like, I'm not one of those people where people are always like, why doesn't Colin Kaepernick sign? Or, like, I think he's... How do I put it?
Mediocre.
Yeah, I think he's mediocre.
He was a mediocre player.
And it's one of those things, too, where it's like, Tebow 100% should not be signed before Kaepernick.
No, he's also mediocre.
No, Tebow lost his luster and he's out of his prime.
There's no, like...
He should commentate or open a restaurant.
Well, he has, like, 100 kids that he adopted because he's, like, a big-time Christian guy.
He's white.
Well, remember that? There was a
reason.
He was on, like, the Mets on, like, their Little League team.
Yeah, but it's
on their minor league team.
Literally just to sell jerseys. Like, you can't... There's no tactical reason. He's not a great route runner. When has he ever ran a route? He runs a 4.7. He's 37. There's no good reason to sign him.
See, I've never seen someone with a more concise breakdown of how shitty Tebow is.
There is some...
But I think almost like some of the things about Kaepernick where it's like, it's a hard scheme fit. He's 37. A lot of his style is based around his athleticism. But at least Kaepernick was successful in the NFL for a little bit.
Yeah.
Tebow really... He made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he made it to the Super Bowl. It's a...
Tebow
Kaepernick,
really
it's not a... not necessarily...
Well, he got put in later on.
It's one of those things where it's like... The biggest win on Tim Tebow being an NFL quarterback is he won a playoff game. You know what I mean? Colin Kaepernick has 3 or 4 playoff games.
That's what I'm saying. Colin Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl.
I know, but the best... It's not a good argument. There's quarterbacks that went to the Super Bowl that you've never heard of before.
That's true, too. But what I'm saying is that is like, I don't know, an unusual feat.
I honestly do think that team was a very good defensive team that really, if you talk about them going to the Super Bowl and don't talk about Patrick Willis...
Well, didn't they also have Frank Gore?
Navarro Bowman.
As a running back?
Yeah, but Justin Johnson. They had a stacked defense. Not Richard Sherman, Antoine Bethea. They had a very, very good defense that they had their team based off of.
Remember when, what's it called? Tim Tebow played minor league for the Mets organization?
He was a bum.
And
Mets fans hated him too.
Awful.
Mets fans hated him too.
Because
for this money we could sign 3 Dominicans who are good.
Wasn't Michael Jordan also on a baseball team?
Yeah, he was on the minor league Atlanta Braves team, but like he was never
terrible. Like the pros.
This is what
there was Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders.
Neon.
Neon, they were both pretty good. Like Bo Jackson was one of those things where watch the 30 Bo knows. Yeah, and he was on his way to being one of the best in both sports. Where it's like Deion's one of the best defensive backs ever to ever play. But he was, baseball gives. He
was fine. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't like great.
He wasn't amazing, right? He got to play, and it's like good for him.
Yeah, he was,
But remember, there was actually
Bo Jackson was in the All-Star game for both sports.
Yeah, no, he was, but like there was a thing with Tim Tebow when he was playing with the Mets minor league organization, and one of the other players got hurt and they fell down and they were like and so like the medical guys came out and like the trainer and then Tim Tebow comes and he runs over and he starts kneeling and like praying that the guy stops being injured.
I hate
and people are like, look at this fucking asshole. Like, what the fuck?
It's one of those things where it's like you can say Colin Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl where it's like, but Tim Tebow won a playoff game that he shouldn't have won with a very good team. It's same thing in college. I feel like where it's like he won the Heisman championship. Did Colin Kaepernick win the Heisman? You could, it's one of those.
Right.
It's a superlative thing.
Well, people say the same thing about Eli. They're like, should Eli be in the Hall? There's like the debate of should
100%.
Eli be in a Hall of Fame.
I think 100%.
I think so too. But some people say, well, the Giants had such a great defensive team and they weren't in there. I disagree. I think it was all together. I think
Eli was such a legend just being there for so long.
As a Jets fan, I have to like Eli because he plays winning. He's never going to throw 4 interceptions or anything. Maybe towards the end he got a little, out of whack.
When he was beginning, his first year, he kind of was shitty.
He was starting to pull a Chuck Liddell a little bit.
Good enough to
knocked out every fight.
He plays just good enough to win, which is what the Jets have not had forever.
I mean, and the thing I love about Eli, and I'll always love him for, is that he beat Tom Brady twice.
Yes.
Not him. Not. I hate to say him, but like. It is kind of him because everybody writes Tom Brady is the greatest QB.
It's one of those things.
We gotta be.
It is one of those things too, where it's like if you watch that game, Eli Manning had a fantastic fucking game.
Yeah, he was amazing in both the games.
He had moments of greatness. But the problem with Eli is that he had this thing where it was like. When he first started off, he had so much pressure because his brother was already the best quarterback in the league.
And the whole trade.
So everybody was like... And the
whole trade situation around him.
Well, he was traded from San Diego to the Giants, so everyone was like, there's so much pressure on this 21-year-old team to fix a franchise that won 3 games the previous year.
All sports.
And so the first year,
guess who did that? The Jets. That's who did that. The Jets. This year.
Yeah. Who did they sign as their quarterback?
Zach Wilson.
Exactly.
Kid out of BYU.
Right. The Jets suck so much they couldn't even lose enough games to get Trevor Lawrence.
No, that was the problem too, because at the end it was too at the end where
you can't even lose.
They would score once. They would score once and then just blow the rest of the game. It'd just be horrible. You'd be up by 7 for 10 minutes.
It's like the Mets. I mean, the Mets.
Some
teams are just hard to root for.
Oh yeah, the Jets are really like.
That's how I always felt about the Knicks. That's why I'm glad the Knicks are actually
Oh yeah, well you saw what de Blasio was dressed in today. Everyone just became Knicks fans. Oh, dressed in the Brooklyn Nets thing. Did you see that?
What de Blasio did?
Yeah, I sent it to my mom. This is
de Blasio is a Red Sox fan, and he's the mayor of New York.
Yeah, it's like a fucking
fuck
is going on here?
No, and he's a Cowboys fan.
No, he's thinking of Chris Christie. Chris Christie's a Cowboys fan.
Chris Christie's a Cowboy. De Blasio, I think, is a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, he is. Yes. But that's why people don't like him, because he's just...
He's not a New Yorker. Well, that was that thing when he ate pizza with a knife in the front.
I mean,
disingenuous.
There's a lot of reasons people don't like Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Speaking of that, the mayoral races... Heating up!
Yeah, it's too bad I don't live in the city, so now I don't really have a say.
That girl, that comic I know, really, fucked
Stacey?
that guy. No, Jean Kim really fucked that guy's whole...
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. She really tanked that guy's whole bid.
Yeah.
Scott Stringer. Oh. It's funny, because you look at a picture of that guy, and he's like a comptroller, which is like a fancy accountant.
Yeah.
He looks like a fancy accountant. Ah! What a douche!
Wow.
Wow.
He's such an asshole.
He looks like
Let's describe what we're seeing.
No, don't, please. You wrote a much better thing. I honestly, we were talking about it earlier, I was like, how dare... She came out in a Zoom mic, and I was like, how dare she expose my little Les Deegan to that? Him and his little sensitive ears.
Yeah, how dare him. Poor little Les.
He was singing Sinatra before this.
You monster.
You're ruining his innocence, you piece of shit.
You're taking his soul away.
Beautiful child.
How am I gonna read him a story after this now?
Beautiful Les Deegan. I just want to fuck him.
I just want to read him a story.
You ever feel like you ever...
Making some hot cocoa.
You ever get signed to do a show and not realize it's a clean show until you get there, and you're just like, fuck.
But that's what the crowd work thing with me too, where it's like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword kind of thing.
Yeah, you show up and you're like, oh no, I can't do crowd work.
Might as well suck tonight.
Sometimes they say no crowd work.
Yeah, but I'm ready for it, I've been in that situation.
Why did they say no crowd work? That's weird.
I mean, you never know. Sometimes it's
it
depends on the context.
They'll say no. They say you can't.
They say don't do crowd work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It can happen.
Why?
Because they don't want that.
I guess they don't. They don't want the risk.
Because there's people who are bad at it and they actually shoot people away.
Yeah, so that makes sense. They don't want the risk of these people are going to get into a fight or some bullshit. I guess that.
Or just people are not going to want to come to the show because they're not going to come to this stupid show with a comedian who's getting into fights with the crowd. Yeah.
But that's it's literally doing the same thing as telling dirty jokes to an older crowd. It's the same kind of.
Yeah, it's the same.
They're not going to like it,
Yeah.
There's a difference between. I think there's a difference between I told a joke that they didn't like and I told a joke that was inappropriate.
Right, for sure.
Because inappropriate jokes are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
If somebody doesn't like an inappropriate joke that you say, it's just like, well, fuck off. I don't care. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, I only had one person criticize me for a joke I made after I did a show, and that was like I did like an anti-vaxxer joke, and somebody's like, well, I didn't vaccinate my kids.
Yeah, but then you took a stand. That's the problem.
No, I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry, but
I think there's
It's like somehow all the jokes you get offended by. It's like you should get your vaccination. Yeah. It's like, how are you gonna get offended by a joke where that's the point?
I know, but the people just don't want to hear it anymore, I guess.
No, it's not even about the COVID. It was like way before. This was like long ago.
Oh.
This was like years ago.
At a mic far, far away?
At a mic. No, this was like a couple years ago at Coasters. I did.
Oh, you were just talking about anti-vaxxers in general.
Yeah, I was just talking about anti-vaxxers. I wasn't talking about. No, I would never do the hacky COVID
vaccine.
Yeah. No, I was just making jokes about anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
And like an anti-vaxxer came up to me and was like, I don't vaccinate my kids. I'm like, okay.
See, that's a weird way to get offended, though. Like I'm saying,
people don't want to be lectured. You know?
But I wasn't even. I was just making fun of people that don't. I wasn't even like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like making fun of someone
who
does something. It's like, yeah, man, you really shouldn't drive drunk. And then someone like the joke is like, yeah, drive drunk. People drive drunk or like whatever. And then someone comes up and he's like, hey, man, I drive drunk all the time, and that's really kind of like offensive to me.
Yeah.
It's like. Well,
maybe you should have.
Sorry, man. I don't know what to say. I disagree with you.
You just gotta let it roll. Just to let it roll off your shoulders.
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't get it. It's kind of funny that the whole thing happened.
I got in trouble once. I don't think I told you guys this story. Where I was in the little room once. I was doing a show with Terry McNeely, so I already thought I'll be fine. And I was telling a joke about psychics and about like how psychics is really like it's a white person industry. It's more like there aren't a lot of black psychics and stuff like that. And I talk about how I made the joke of like I live on Long Island, so I only have one black friend, and it's not like a joke like I'm a racist, so I have one black friend to cover. No, it's like I live on Long Island, which is a very racially
segregated.
It's white segregated place.
It's pretty segregated. Yeah.
And literally all the people at the place look at that one black friend. And I should have just said, "You guys are proving my joke." That's what I should have said.
Proving that you've never been there. Yeah.
This guy stands up, the black guy stands up, and he just looks at me and he's like, "You're gonna make fun of a black guy eating chicken?" I'm like, "That's way more racist than what I just said." Like, that's way more racist.
You're just like, well, now that you mention it. No, but I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like, sometimes when getting offended, you just shoot yourself in the foot.
Well, if you're getting offended, I never understood the point of like trying to, like if you get offended by a play, there would be... People have walked out of plays, but you would never think of like, I'm going to go talk to the actor afterwards that was in this play and confront him. Or you would never like interrupt the play and be like, hey, this is bullshit.
You never try to cancel the play and go to the theater and be like, the play should not be allowed. I saw
that happened to Terry McNeely the other week, I believe. I believe he was making fun of wrestling and some 6'5" guy took the mic away from him and started ranting in his face about it.
Wow. I mean, when you're 6'5", you can get away with that, I guess, yeah.
And he was like, all right, just keep going. Just keep talking. And I'll be here. I'm talking about fucking Jerry from Levittown after the morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it all depends on how you approach it. People sometimes have weird things that make them upset.
What a weird thing to be so passionate about.
Yeah, like, but that's what I was saying.
How dare you insult Stone Cold Steve Austin? He's my personal hero.
Listen, I've had those action figures for 3 decades.
Well, you guys know about the low-key effort to cancel Trevor Noah, right?
For what?
For what? Yeah.
The jokes that he made up in like his like special from like 2008.
Oh wait a second, this is like a few years ago though.
Wow.
Wait, what did he say?
There's people who are still.
What did he say though?
He said something about some mining thing that happened in Africa over by there. And I guess what he said about the families, people were like, "How could you make fun of all these?"
Well, you lived there. You guys
I
didn't.
thought you said miners.
And here's the other part too, like miners, like literally.
Yeah, I thought you meant like miners. Like he's like, yeah, fucking a miner is wrong, but if you go to Africa,
no. But either way, if he said
that would have been funnier.
Yeah,
here's the thing: it's people who are like from Brooklyn who are like, how could Trevor Noah say this about this? Where I'm like, if you're from Brooklyn and you're telling a guy from South Africa how to feel about Africa,
yeah, exactly.
Go fuck yourself.
Fucking die.
And it's not a political thing. Because the people who are trying to cancel him
go home
are on the same political side as him.
Go home and suck the gas.
Well, that's the thing is that those same people, like their parents, the same people that live in, they're very rich and they live these lives where nobody has ever told them, like, hey, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. And they go to these colleges now where the professors don't ever tell them, like, listen, you're a fucking idiot. Or nobody ever just ignores
Sometimes
them.
People don't tell the professors,
But nobody ever ignores them, or, like, you have to listen to every thought they have, so they just get these godlike complexes about themselves, and they think their opinions are so important, so they Yeah, if you're lecturing a guy from if you're lecturing like a black guy from South
white
Africa,
kids from Brooklyn.
Yeah, where you're like a trust fund baby.
It's literally
in Williamsburg.
It's nothing other than I want to host the Daily Show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want my turn.
That they disagree with him on anything. Actually, that they really disagree with him on.
Purely jealous.
It's like the same. It's the same thing.
It depends on what it is. I mean, if it's truly fucked up, what was done is one thing. Like it's like with Michael Richards, I don't think anyone's gonna argue like, oh, Michael Richards was totally not being fucked up there.
Yeah, but usually when you hear the story of that guy was a heckler who was being brought out of the club already for interrupting him several times that night. Then you get a little... I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'm saying as a guy who tells...
I'm saying I might have called him the N-word.
I know.
No, I get you, but it's true. Like
I would have called him a different racial
everything. Slur. Context to everything.
I mean it all depends, but the problem is
I'm never going to say that was the right thing to do.
No, of course. I mean...
As a guy who's been dealing with a heckler and wanting to say the most hurtful thing I could, you don't.
You basically... As a guy who's looked at a heckler and really wanted to say the N-word, you just don't do
Thanks for telling everyone what I was thinking.
I'm just messing with
you. Tom's like the coloring book version of me.
He just fills in with more context. But I think that this problem with like the Tony Hinchcliffe thing is you take like the clip of that without any context, and if you see it, it's like, yeah, that's awful.
And then
that's what happened to me at first. I was like, Jesus Christ.
People are gonna look up to this guy's thing now. And the people who are on our side who would defend Tony, I'm not going to say our side, like, I think we're...
The people who are on the good team, the gold team.
But this is the problem, too, when it gets done after, it's a white guy making fun of an Asian guy. After it gets to, we're actually people, and we're do more than this. What if this Asian guy does homophobic jokes or trans jokes?
Yeah. Or like Kevin Hart did that.
Exactly. All the people who are on his side right now would literally turn their back on him in a fucking second. It's the problem with Jesselnick. When Jesselnick turned his back on being dirty comics and he thinks all the people like Legion of Skanks and Nazis and stuff, guess who was defending him when he was Captain Shark Party 10 years ago?
Yeah,
when he was being thrown off Comedy Central for making fun of a kid who died that day.
I mean, that's
Jesselnick. He's not even that good of a comic.
That's the problem is that, there's always a lot... Well, a lot of these people that criticize others for making jokes, like, there's always... If you're a comic, like, or that's been successful or that tells, like... unless you're like a really like a Jim Gaffigan type clean comic, there's been jokes that you've told on stage that have either fell flat and like if you looked at it out of context would be horrible. And so it's like to think that you're all so pure and mighty. I just don't understand the point of like of doing that whole shit. And I think a lot of it is like jealousy. A lot of it is I want to take this person down so I can get a spot.
People's beliefs. Sometimes people's beliefs are just so radical that they feel like they have to.
It's like
I have a mission. I have a cultural mission. I have to call out every injustice I see. Every time I see a glimmer of racism. Every time I see a glimmer of homophobia, I have to call it out.
There was the Snyder Cut that came out, and they had a whole thing with Cyborg, and he wouldn't say booyah because it was like racist or something. It's like it's the guy's catchphrase, right?
Yeah, Stuart Scott used to say that on SportsCenter. You go booyah, that's not like a black.
But it's one of those things. It's one of those things where Ray Fresher didn't want to feel like he was a crazy black guy yelling booyah.
Yeah.
And I get that. Yeah. But it's also like as a writer. There's a part of me that's like, that's the catchphrase it's been the guy's fucking catchphrase for 15 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost, it's one of those things I didn't think about when I watched the movie, but now I think about it, I was like, oh yeah, he didn't say booyah. That would have been the movie thing to do. Like,
or they just like put like pointless,
or just
changes.
like have him like blast a drone or whatever and just not yell booyah, just like quietly to himself, like booyah or whatever, like to himself, you know? Like, there was ways around it, but there was also, the situation I want to compare it to was in Gone Girl. The director they had to shut down the set. Yeah, they had to shut down the set for like 3 days because Ben Affleck refused to wear a Yankee hat.
Oh, really?
Where it's Ben Affleck is just being ridiculous. You know,
Christ. He's being a diva. Well, some people are divas to work with.
Like, I'm not coming out of my trailer. It's like Ben.
Some people are like impossible to work with on a set. Like like there have been comedians also that have like gotten reputations of just being difficult, like asshole. And it's part of show business. I guess if you get like so successful. Like you get to have that certain level of ego where you can start screaming.
And it is actors too, where I'm like,
actors seem like they're probably not the best.
Sometimes directors also get that godlike complex. Like David O. Russell is like that guy was a huge. You ever watch that video of him calling Lily Tomlin a cunt?
Well, do you see what she said before that?
She was like, "You're being." I forget exactly what.
Oh no, she screamed at him before that too. You ever watch that one where she's like screaming at him? He's like, "Fuck you!"
Oh yeah. Her and Dustin Hoffman and Mark Wahlberg.
He comes around the door. And
wow.
They're all like just in a car, and they've been like doing this scene for 5 hours. So they're just like, "Listen, we're tired." And then Dustin Hoffman comes up. David, we're tired. We just want to go home. You know?
Hey, David, shalom.
I don't know why my Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, like, I was gonna say, like, why are you gonna sound like a rabbi?
Independence. It's
like, hi, Dustin Hoffman. He's like, hello, Shabbat shalom.
I don't know. I can't
do a
good
guy from Independence guy.
Yeah, Judd Hirsch. I don't do a good Dustin, but that guy is like a notorious asshole. And there was that thing where like he almost got into a fight with George Clooney. And, like, he, I don't know. That's the only, like...
They're all assholes.
But we're acting like show business isn't the only business that... Like, politics is an industry where people are allowed to be extreme psychopaths to their employees or just, like, act like complete assholes.
Not just politics, even in in the restaurant business, you have fucking restaurant managers who are evil and they'll like torture their employees.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's more of a subjective. Like, I don't think Ray Fisher is being. I don't disagree with his causes 100% as much as I do with Ben Affleck. Where I'm like, Ben Affleck, you're just being a dumb actor right now. Affleck, yeah. But it's also the part of like I understand being a writer and having someone who's supposed to just be reading the script be like, you should say this instead. Where I'm like, no, I wanted to say this. You know,
if it really goes again, yeah, exactly.
But it's like so subjective too, where it's like the people who they're literally looking for the littlest thing.
Well, the problem also is that people write articles about it. So the problem is the media, the people that go on, like the journalists are now looking for these things. Like, I gotta find out what thing, what does he say? What is, and they're like looking for this.
And then the people who hate the journalists because of what they did go through what the journalist says and find that they're a hypocrite for it. The problem is everyone is a cycle.
Everybody is full of shit.
Like watch. 2 days there's gonna be a thing on trending that's like Peng Dang said something about black guys or Peng Dang.
Yeah, that'll probably. I can see that. It's like, oh well, Peng Dang thinks he's so high and mighty. Well, in 2017, he said that
the Holocaust
Jews,
is real.
That's why punching down is stupid.
A lot better in the back of the.
That's why punching down is stupid. Can a white woman make fun of a black man?
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you say that, and I always feel like I'd rather be a man of any race than a woman.
Yeah.
Of any race.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not gonna
Your
lie.
holes are a lot safer.
Yeah, 100%. Dudes! Yes,
yeah! We gotta wrap it up because we're almost at 2 hours.
Speaking of rape.
Yeah, dudes! We can end it at that. Yeah.
Men are the best.
Whoa!
We are the champions.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Alright, thank you so much for coming on the show, Zach. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to a podcast. Orange, everybody.
Oh, shit, this is 2 hours?
Yeah, dude, we were going long. Well, I was looking at that time creep up. I was
if you made it this far, you should probably be giving back your